At the end of the Ice Age, I accumulated tens of billions of supplies. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151 Young Mana. Zhang Yi asked Zhu Hao to communicate with Wang Ximing and then prepared to leave. Zhu Hao said, "It's simple. What I told him was, give me some time to trick you into the trap. So he has been waiting for my news. It can be seen that he is also coveting the supplies in your hands, especially the snowmobile food. If you nod, we can go there tomorrow." Zhang Yi nodded. "Well, you can communicate with him in front of me." Zhang Yi confiscated Zhu Hao's mobile phone to prevent this kid from doing anything behind his back. Zhu Hao honestly finished communicating with Wang Ximing in front of Zhang Yi and made an appointment for tomorrow without any obstacles. "Wait for my news." Zhang Yi took the phone away, then went home and started preparing weapons and equipment. Seeing that he was busy again, Zhao Kai couldn't help asking, "Haven't all the problems in the community have been solved? Where are you going? Go to a better place. Don't ask too much, I will tell you when the time comes." Zhang Yi said lightly. Zhao Kai shut her mouth obediently, and she wouldn't talk too much about things she shouldn't ask. Before Zhang Yi left, after thinking about it, he still left half a month's worth of food for her and Uncle Yu. In case he encounters any accident, these foods can also keep them alive for half a month. Zhao Kai looked worried. Zhang Yi had never made such a move before. She was suddenly frightened, walked over, and hugged Zhang Yi. "Zhang Yi, are you going to do something dangerous? I'm a little scared." Her tall and slender figure combined with soft and plump parts will make a man very moved when she hugs her. This is a natural advantage. Maybe she doesn't want to use it to seduce others, but it is born. There is no way. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows and asked with a smile, "Why, do you want to come one more time before I leave?" Zhao Kai blushed. "It's up to you. At worst, it's up to you this time. I can just wear a white shirt or an apron." Zhang Yi chuckled and squeezed her delicate chin. "Don't worry, Zhang Yi, never do things that I'm not sure about. I'm more afraid of death than anyone else, and I won't put myself in danger. However, it is my personal habit to prepare everything in advance." He put his arms around Zhao Kai's head and kissed him hard, and after a long time, Zhao Kai was almost out of breath before letting go. A crystal thread slowly fell and broke, leaving at the corner of her lips. "I have important things to do this afternoon. I'll take care of you when I come back." Zhao Kai lay powerlessly on the sofa, nodded shyly, "Yeah." Zhang Yi smiled and left the house, then went to knock on Zhu Hao's door. "Zhu Hao, open the door." Zhu Hao came over and opened the door and was a little surprised to see Zhang Yi coming to him. "Brother Zhang, what else do you want?" Zhang Yi raised his thumb back with his hand wearing anti-cut gloves. Let's go. Zhu Hao's eyes widened. "Didn't we discuss it and go there tomorrow?" "Tomorrow?" Zhang Yi sneered. "Soldiers never tire of deceit. Tell him it's tomorrow, so wouldn't we be able to kill him by surprise if we go there today?" Zhu Hao opened his mouth and said in his heart, "You are too stupid." But he still had to give a thumbs up. Tall. It's really tall. There is another reason for Zhang Yi to do this. People are suspicious. It is true that Wang Ximing's rich second generation is bohemian, but he is not a fool. If everything goes too smoothly, he will become suspicious instead. It is precisely because of Zhang Yi's sudden decision that Wang Ximing thinks that Zhang Yi has really fallen into a trap. Zhang Yi brought Zhu Hao downstairs, and he pretended to fetch the snowmobile. Zhu Hao was about to get in the car, but was stopped by Zhang Yi. He took out a white belt and said to Zhu Hao, "Put out your hand." This kind of plastic strap is used to bind steel pipes on the construction site. It is extremely strong, and after being tied to the hand, it becomes tighter and tighter as it struggles, not much worse than handcuffs. Zhu Hao begged with a bitter face, "Brother, why don't you believe me now? I'm really on the same side with you, and I still have poison." Zhang Yi said lightly, "There is no special reason, it's just that I feel more at ease in my heart." and when I got to Wang Siming's place, he didn't believe you until he saw you were tied up. Zhu Hao was very reluctant in his heart, but he also knew that his resistance was futile, so he obediently stretched out his hands and asked Zhang Yi to tie them together. After doing this, Zhang Yi let him sit in front of the motorcycle and drove behind him. Boom. The motorcycle started and drove towards the outside of the community. The wind and snow blew on Zhu Hao's face like a small knife was being cut. The pain was so severe that he couldn't open his eyes. If he wasn't wearing a thick turtleneck, his face would have been frozen to death. Brother, my face hurts from the wind. Do you have any extra helmets? Wearing a bulletproof helmet, Zhang Yi said coldly, no. Just bear with it for a while. And you look more ill, because you are miserable. At this moment, Zhu Hao wanted to cry very much. An hour later, the two came to the top villa area in Xianhe City, near Yonk Manor. After coming here, Zhang Yi looked at the surrounding scenery and couldn't help being a little dazed. This place is so good, I have nothing to say. It's not that he hasn't seen luxury villas and high-rise buildings, but the location of this villa area alone surpasses other high-end villas. Yonk Manor is backed by two mountains, and in front of it is the Lujiang River in Xianhe City. From a distance, this terrain looks like a Grand Master's chair, and Yonk Manor sits in the middle of the Grand Master's chair. Behind is a natural barrier. The wind passes between the two mountains and falls to the Lujiang River in front of it. This Feng Shui was obviously instructed by an expert. There are many businessmen in the south, and they are very obsessed with Feng Shui, so it is only natural that this luxury villa area has excellent Feng Shui. However, Zhang Yi is most moved by the fact that, because Yonk Manor is backed by two mountains as a barrier, the community has become a natural shelter from the wind. After the heavy snowfalls, it will be blown towards the Lujiang River by the wind between the two mountains. Therefore, the snow piled up more than 10 meters in other places, but the snow here is only 2 or 3 meters. I originally thought that it would be fair to most people when the disasters of the last days come. But now it seems that the rich will even take extra care of God. Zhang Yi said with emotion. Zhu Hao patted his ass in front of him. What's the use of that? Compared with brother Zhang, those rich people here don't live a life. The corner of Zhang Yi's mouth raised. Stop flattering. Come down and lead me the way. Zhu Hao asked curiously. Aren't you going to continue driving inside? It will take a long time to go. Zhang Yi said lightly, let you come down and go. Why so much nonsense? Chapter 152. After Zhu Hao got out of the car, Zhang Yi put the snowmobile into the different space. Zhu Hao stood beside him, his eyes wide open. This is. Zhang Yi glanced at him lightly. Haven't you seen it? Zhu Hao was speechless and said in his heart, I have seen ghosts before I have seen them. So, brother Zhang, you are a mutant. Zhang Yi said, actually, I prefer names like superpowers or aliens. Mutants always feel a bit discriminatory. Zhu Hao was full of curiosity. I have learned a lot. I really have learned a lot. Zhang Yi walked forward through the snow. Zhu Hao hurriedly followed, with a flattering expression on his face. Brother Zhang, I will follow you from now on. You are my real brother. Take care of my younger brother. Zhang Yi said, that depends on your performance. Zhu Hao nodded. Don't worry, I know that guy Wang Siming very well. This operation must be foolproof. The corner of Zhang Yi's mouth twitched. You better be. Put away the snowmobile to prevent Wang Siming from killing people. Although Zhang Yi has mastered the new ability of different space, he will not take unnecessary risks. The two walked into the neighborhood. Among the Yonk Manor, there are more than 100 villas. Most of the blizzard was blown away, and only half of the doors were flooded. Even the temperature was higher than that of Yulu community due to its proximity to the river. The two walked forward through the snow, slowly attracting the attention of some people. Zhang Yi clearly noticed figures appearing behind some windows. He asked Zhu Hao next to him, why do I feel that there are still many living people here? Is it possible that rich people also have the habit of storing food? Zhu Hao was too familiar with this. He said to Zhang Yi, it's really like this. It's just that it's not the same as the things stored in ordinary people's homes. For example, my dad, he had collected more than 100 top quality Spanish hams in my cold storage. Not to mention that the people who can live here are all famous and rich. Basically, every villa will have a wine storage and special food. In addition, everyone lives separately, so there will not be large-scale starvation and conflicts like Ulu community. Naturally, we can live longer. Zhang Yi nodded. I see. He didn't care too much about these. Anyway, no one here knows him, and because of the lack of food, the rich people here will starve to death. After living a little longer, the two walked forward along the road. Wang Ximing's villa is located in the center of the community, number 101. The two walked forward unhurriedly, and Zhang Yi observed the surrounding scene while walking. One is to check whether there is any danger, and the other is to familiarize yourself with the surrounding environment and prepare for the future. When the two passed by a villa, Zhang Yi suddenly heard an excited shout. Hey, are you here to save us? Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao turned their heads and looked over. I saw that the window of that villa was opened forcefully, and then a man wrapped in a black down jacket waved vigorously towards this side. Who is it? Zhang Yi glanced at Zhu Hao. Your friend? Zhu Hao is also not sure. He does have many acquaintances around here. I don't know. But brother Zhang, let's leave him alone and let him die. Zhu Hao didn't care either. Zhang Yi nodded and planned to move on. But when that person saw that the two were indifferent, he was obviously a little anxious. Fuck, are your ears deaf? MD, can't you hear me if I tell you to come here? That person came over while wading through the snow and quickly blocked the way of Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao. Zhang Yi frowned slightly. Mouth so dirty, why does it sound familiar? He put his hands next to his thighs, and some wanted to kill this guy. However, considering the next action, he didn't want to startle the snake, so he didn't make a move for the time being. He just looked at this person coldly, trying to figure out his identity. Zhu Hao is not happy anymore. He is also sensible at this time, and cannot let Zhang Yi do anything. So he stepped forward and asked, who the fuck are you? The man pulled off the scarf wrapped around his face, revealing his pale and puffy face. Don't you even know me? I, the famous host, Zhang Dada. Zhang Yi laughed. No wonder he thought the voice was familiar, especially that stinky mouth, which became his symbol in the entertainment industry. Zhang Dada didn't even look at the faces of the two of them, and just opened his mouth to curse. Are both of you candles? Why can't they light up? Fuck, we've been calling you for so long, and now we are here to take us away. I don't know what you guys are doing with our taxpayers' money. Zhang Yi originally wanted to slap him twice, but hearing what Zhang Dada said, he and Zhu Hao were a little curious. Call for help, taxpayer. Could it be that Zhang Dada can contact the hidden organization in Qianhai City? What do you mean by that? Zhang Yizheng was going to ask carefully, but Zhang Dada interrupted him before he could finish speaking. Let me tell you, now, we are leaving here. Although the villa is very expensive, there is not much food in the house, and the charcoal and alcohol are also burned. You are going to take us to the refuge, and then arrange a place for me and my bosom friend to live in. It must be an independent house. It is impossible for us to live with other people. Zhang Yi couldn't help raising his eyebrows when he heard the word shelter. It was the first time he had heard of the refuge in Qianhai City. But if you think about it, this is not unusual. After all, every city will have means to deal with extraordinary situations. When encountering flood disasters or encountering air raids during wars, shelters are needed to escape. And those hidden organizations are probably in those places. Zhang Yi asked, do you know where the shelter is? Zhang Dada's eyes widened when he heard this. Are you asking me? You actually ran over and asked me, what are you doing for food? Aren't you the people who came to pick us up from the shelter? Zhang Yi was already annoyed by his Drake voice. Zhang Dada's mouth was not clean from the very beginning, and he always had a condescending attitude. I really don't know where his confidence comes from. Zhang Yi said coldly, we are not people from there. Don't dream, they are too busy to take care of themselves now, so it is impossible to come and take care of you. What? Zhang Dada raised his little fingers with both hands and covered his head in horror. How is this possible? We spent a lot of money to pay taxes. We are big stars, and they don't even care about us. Aren't they afraid of causing public opinion? Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao looked at him as if they were looking at an idiot. Zhu Hao leaned into Zhang Yi's ear and whispered, there are relatively few people in the villa area, and there is not much information exchange. Maybe he still Doesn't know what's going on outside. Zhang Yi said. Couldn't he know how to surf the internet? After the end of the world, communication has been greatly restricted. For example, when Zhang Yi was in Yulu community, everyone he could contact was by his side, and distant friends or relatives cannot be contacted. However, several large official media outlets can continue to spread news to the whole country with the help of super servers. Could it be that Zhang Dada has no access to any information from the outside world? Suddenly, Zhang Yi recalled the news that the official media had broadcast all day long. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, this snowstorm will last for 3 months. 3 months later, the global temperature will usher in a significant rise, reaching above 0 degrees. Huago has launched a comprehensive rescue and disaster relief operation in response to the snow disaster, and has achieved outstanding results. At the request of the broad masses of the people, proceed from the facts and unremittingly fight against the snow disaster. Establish a new working mechanism, clarify new directions for development, expand new ways to increase income, accumulate new advantages in construction, and explore new ways of pilot projects. It is the premise, the foundation, the key, the core, and the guarantee. We will fully release the snowstorm to let everyone adapt to the cold. Although there will be pain in the short term, it will be beneficial in the long run. Looking at the situation in the world, the scenery here is unique. He suddenly realized why Zhang Dada was in this state. Chapter 153 Bosom Friend, you are so beautiful. Zhang Yi looked at the stinky Zhang Dada in front of him and felt that he was quite pitiful. He fantasized that someone would come to rescue him. I'm afraid he thought that the snow disaster would pass soon, and then he could still be a star. So let's continue to look down on ordinary people. It is no wonder that people with higher status are more afraid of the end of the world, because all the wealth, status and social connections they had will be gone. Let's go. Zhang Yi didn't want to waste time with Zhang Dada, so he called Zhu Hao to leave. Who knows that Zhang Dada is not happy? Then where did you come from? Do you have food there? Oh, our place is far away from those ordinary supermarkets and shopping malls. In the past, food was brought in by plane from abroad. Now it's too cold, so planes don't fly anymore. Fuck, those dogs took my money and didn't do anything. I have to sue them when the snowstorm is over. Do you have something to eat? Sell me some, and I can buy them at 10 times the market price. Zhang Dada looked bossy. Maybe he was used to being so superior in the past, and he hasn't changed it now. Zhang Yi sighed. I have something to do, so I don't want to talk to you. But you beep, you really deserve a beating. After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he slapped Zhang Dada in the face with a round slap. His face was contorted, nosebleeds splashed out along with a few teeth. Plop. With a sound, he was slapped and fell into the snow. Zhang Dada covered his face, looked at Zhang Yi in astonishment, then pointed at Zhang Yi with an orchid flower and cursed. You dare to hit me. Do you know who I am? I'm Zhang Dada, you bitch. 2 people want to court death. Zhang Yi was really angry, rushed up and kicked Zhang Dada's face fiercely. The heavy snow boots imprinted mercilessly on his face. You stupid idiot, you really think you are great? Play tricks on me and see if I don't beat you to death. Zhu Hao also followed up and kicked several times violently. Zhang Dada cried when he was beaten. He was a little stubborn at first, but soon cried and begged Zhang Yi to spare his life. Stop now. When Zhang Yi was fighting vigorously, another person appeared in that villa and told them to stop. Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao took a look, and they couldn't see the person's appearance clearly, but they felt that the person was slender and weak, like a woman. Could it be Kun? Zhu Hao smiled and said to Zhang Yi. That person had no choice but to come out when he saw Zhang Dada being beaten. When he came to Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao, he slowly took off his hat and scarf, revealing a fair and delicate face. Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao couldn't help saying, it's really Kun. They are too familiar with this face. Zhang Yi has not seen his performance, but he has watched various dance imitation videos of him. Seeing the surprise of the two, the man smiled and said confidently, you must have recognized me. I'm the famous idol KZIN who debuted for 2.5 years. And the person you hit is my friend. I hope you don't embarrass him for my sake. The person in front of Zhang Yi is indeed the top class in recent years, the black and red idol student KZIN. Seeing KZIN approaching, Zhang Dada got up from the ground like a dog with an owner, raised his chin and said, "I'm a good friend of Zion. If you hit me, just wait to be blasted by fans." Zhang Yi laughed. People who live in the past world and refuse to face the reality are actually quite pitiful. KZIN frowned and suddenly took out a lip balm from her pocket. Oops, the air outside is so dry that my lips are about to crack. While applying lip balm, he said to Zhang Yi and the two, "Aren't you the one sent by Director Shi to take me there?" Zhang Yi was inexplicable. He had no idea who the other party was talking about. "No, we are just passing by." KZIN's eyes were a little dim, like a resentful woman who has been abandoned by her lover. How could she have the heart to leave me alone? Didn't she agree that she would love me for the rest of her life? Zhang Yi's eyes were strange, and he somewhat understood the relationship between Director Shi and him. "There's nothing to do, let's go first, goodbye." Zhang Yi was too lazy to deal with them, and was about to leave. KZIN stopped him. "Wait a minute. You must have something to eat, right? Please share some with us." He picked his middle part with his little finger. "I can give you an autograph in exchange. Is that okay?" Zhang Dada was still beside him and said, "You guys are really lucky. The autograph of our bosom friend can't even be bought. It can be sold online for 2,000 yuan. Zhang Yi chuckled, not interested. If it wasn't because Zhang Yi didn't hit women, he would have already done it. When KZIN heard that Zhang Yi didn't want his signature, she bit her lip helplessly and clenched her small fist, as if making some huge sacrifice. "Well, I can take a photo with you. So you are satisfied?" When Zhang Dada next to him heard this, his eyes widened, and he was about to cry. "Zion, no, this is absolutely not allowed. How can you just take a photo with someone else? People like them are not qualified at all." KZIN took a deep breath and said to Zhang Dada with firm eyes, "Dada, we need food now. It doesn't matter if I make a sacrifice." Zhang Dada burst into tears. He wiped his nose and choked twice. "Okay, since that's the case, I respect your decision." After finishing speaking, he turned his head, glared at Zhang Yi and said, "Did you hear that? Bosom friend agreed to take a photo with you. This is the honor of your 8 lifetimes. As long as you take out a little food, you can have fun secretly." The two were moved by themselves, and they didn't notice the stunned look on Zhang Yi's face. Zhang Yi shook his head and muttered to himself, "There are such people in the world, and I've opened my eyes." Zhu Hao said with a smile, "Brother Zhang, don't think that celebrities are different. Many of them are not as good as ordinary people. I used to sleep with many young girls and innocent flowery boys in the eyes of fans. Their private lives are very messy. Take this KZIN as an example. He is surrounded by a big female boss in Shanghai. Otherwise, how can he be qualified to live here?" If it was normal, Zhang Yi would not mind playing with these two clowns. But today he still has things to do. So Zhang Yi waved at them. "Give way, I don't have time to talk to you." As soon as these words came out, the expressions of KZIN and Zhang Dada changed suddenly, as if they had heard some unreasonable request. Chapter 154. KZIN trembled, pointed at Zhang Yi and said, He actually refused. Does he know how many people want to take a photo with me in their dreams?" While comforting KZIN, Zhang Dada scolded angrily, "Where did you two come from? Do you know where this is? And do you know how different our identities are from yours? Now such a good opportunity is in front of you, and you don't know how to cherish it. You deserve to be a low-level person for the rest of your life." He was afraid that Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao would run away because there really wasn't much food in their house. So while speaking, he walked over and grabbed Zhang Yi's sleeve to prevent him from leaving. "I tell you, since you are here today, you must give us some food. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving." Zhang Dada shouted hysterically. Zhu Hao sighed. "This kid is finished." Sure enough, Zhang Yi was annoyed by Zhang Dada's performance like a shrew. He originally didn't want to cause trouble, but some people like to be mean. What can he do? Zhang Yi didn't say anything, just grabbed the hair on Zhang Dada's forehead with one hand, and then took out a gun with the other hand. When Zhang Dada opened his mouth to scream for pain, the pistol was stuffed into his mouth and aimed at his cheek. Boom. A muffled gunshot rang out, and KZIN, who was next to her, froze for a moment, then screamed in fright. Half of Zhang Dada's face was directly punched out with a large bloody hole, half of his teeth were shattered, half of his tongue was also broken, and his mouth was full of blood. It looks very scary from the side. OHHOHHOHH. Zhang Dada lay on the ground writhing in pain. Zhang Yi said indifferently, "Why are you so cheap? Didn't you make it up for yourself?" After speaking, he glanced at KZIN beside him. KZIN's face was smeared with a thick foundation, which was already frighteningly white, but now it was a little paler. He stepped back in a hurry, crying and begging, don't shoot. Is there anything to discuss? As long as you don't kill me, I'll give you whatever you want. Even if it's... A shameful expression suddenly appeared on his face, and he bit his lip slightly. Even if you want me. A few black lines flashed across Zhang Yi's forehead. That's okay too. Zhu Hao laughed and said, "This is a common occurrence in the upper circles, not unusual. It's a pity I don't have that interest." Zhang Yi said lightly. KZIN shouted, "It's really impossible. I'll give you my female fan. As long as I ask. I don't know how many women are willing to sacrifice their lives for me. If you don't like this, I can contact Brother ZHU. There are many cute little angels hidden in his house." Zhang Yi can see that this kind of idol star is a waste and a disaster, and I'm afraid that it is not as good as ordinary people who can face reality. He pointed his pistol at KZIN and jokingly said, "Sing me your famous song. If you sing it 100 times, I'll let you go." 100 times? KZIN hesitated for a moment, but spoke slowly. Hey. Zhang Yi frowned. "What are you singing about?" KZIN looked aggrieved. What he sang is his famous song. This is a Golden Melody Award-winning work. Zhang Yi curled his lips in disdain. "You're playing tricks on me, right? You know which song I'm talking about. Sing." Zhu Hao laughed while clutching his stomach. "Not only do you have to sing, but you also have to dance and rap." KZIN's face darkened, and she adjusted her middle part in shame. "Bosom friend, you are so beautiful." Zhang Yi nodded in satisfaction. "It's better to judge the dance by myself, don't you think so?" Zhu Hao nodded in agreement. That's right. It's so authentic. Most people can't imitate it." Zhang Yi gave KZIN a kick, told him to turn his back, and then said, "You must stop after jumping 100 times, or I will crush you." KZIN's body froze, and she jumped even harder. Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao walked away. But the gunshots just now spread throughout the community, and Wang Ximing must have noticed it too. But it doesn't matter. Wang Ximing already knew that Zhang Yi had a gun in his hand, so it was meaningless to hide it. It's better to come to the door openly, but it will give the other party the illusion that he is a reckless man. As long as it is any action that can paralyze the enemy carelessly, it is necessary. The gunshots alarmed many people in the community, and more people appeared at the window, looking at Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao. However, the two of them were so tightly wrapped that it was impossible to tell who they were. For some, the two of them with guns are a huge threat, but for some on the verge of despair, they are hope. In villa number 204, there is a beautiful woman with a proud figure behind the window, lying on the glass and looking out eagerly. She was wearing a black cashmere nightgown. Her fair skin was as white as snow. There is no trace of blemish on the delicate melon seed's face. I don't know how many brand name cosmetics are used for daily maintenance. The proud twin peaks prop up the clothes high, and the majestic scale is jaw-dropping point through the loose nightgown. A large area of smooth white and black lace can be vaguely seen. Because it is lying in front of the window, the body forms a natural S-shaped curve. The two petals of the buttocks behind her are raised high, which is a standard peach buttocks. The sunken slender waist is like the steering wheel of a car, which makes people want to hold it and drive it. Under the nightgown, black silk stockings were worn on the two pure white legs, delicate and elegant. Those who can live in this kind of place are all wealthy, either the top richest man or the top performer in the entertainment industry. The young woman saw Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao pass by the door with her own eyes. She bit her pink lips with a troubled expression on her face. Since it is in the south, her villa also specially installed a fireplace, so the indoor temperature is much higher than the outside. But when he came in, the carbon crystals were almost burned out, and the food had bottomed out 3 days ago. Now she is hungry and dizzy, and urgently needs to add a lot of protein. But in this place, although the people nearby are neighbors, there is no communication at all on weekdays. There is no way for her to borrow some food. Not to mention that the situation of the snow disaster is unknown now. Who would lend it to her? And these two outsiders gave the lady a glimmer of hope in her eyes. They were able to brave the heavy snow and look healthy, which meant that they had sufficient food and the ability to survive in extremely cold temperatures. It seems that, if I want to live, I have to give it a try. She looked into the mirror in the corner of the room. In the mirror, she is still charming, with a protruding figure. This body was once the object of fantasy for countless men across the country at night. She felt that she had to give it a try. After all, who would refuse an extremely beautiful and top actress? Chapter 155 Young Manor 101. Zhang Yi didn't know that he was being missed. He is now highly concentrated because there may be a life and death showdown next. After a while, the two came to the vicinity of 101 in Young Manor. In fact, Zhang Yi saw it from a long distance away. If Young Manor is a luxurious city for the rich, then Young Manor 101 is the palace of the rich. It was a black luxury villa. The whole body was made of unknown materials. Although the outside has been painted, it seems to be similar to ordinary villas, but the metal texture cannot be completely concealed. The roof is covered with snow, which looks solemn and gorgeous, like a Nordic castle in ice and snow. Although there are only 2 floors above the surface, it is nearly 20 meters high. Even the steps are 2 or 3 meters above the snow surface. The moment Zhang Yi appeared here, he immediately opened the door of a different space in front of him. The door of space is invisible and qualityless, without thickness, and is a 2-dimensional plane. But anything that attacks Zhang Yi will pass over it and enter another space. Its attack ability Zhang Yi has not yet researched, but its defense and counter-attack capabilities are full. It is very suitable for Zhang Yi's relatively stable style of play. Although Zhu Hao said that the shelter does not have heavy firepower, Zhang Yi still chooses to believe in himself. Zhang Yi pushed Zhu Hao, pushed him a stagger, then pointed a gun at his head and said, "This is the shelter you mentioned? Go and open the door for me." Zhu Hao looked up at the top of the black metal door and said loudly, "Wait a moment, I will open the door for you." In the control room of the villa, a man in a yellow silk nightgown stood in front of the monitor, staring at Zhang Yi seriously. He is Wang Ximing, a well-known rich man in Huaguo. In the camera, he saw Zhu Hao winking at him, but Wang Ximing remained indifferent and did not reach out to press the button to open the door. Obviously the appointment time is tomorrow, but I didn't expect the other party to come over today. He was caught off guard, and many things were not prepared in time. And in his sight, he didn't see the snowmobile that he missed the most. Although there are still food and women in the shelter, he is a banana man who loves freedom in his bones and insists on the belief of give me freedom or give me death. Therefore, he is eager to leave the shelter and breathe the free air in the outside world. What about the snowmobile? Wang Ximing frowned with a very dissatisfied expression. So he didn't open the door for Zhu Hao, but observed quietly. Zhu Hao came to the door, pretending to use his retina to unlock the door. Obviously, this method has no effect. Zhang Yi at the door waited for a while, feeling a little impatient. He picked up the pistol and aimed it at the back of Zhu Hao's head. "Bastard. How dare you play tricks on me? Believe it or not, I'll kill you right now." Zhu Hao turned pale with shock. Don't shoot. If I can open the door, I must be able to open the door. Let me try again." He approached the door of the room tremblingly, actually winking at the surveillance. "This door can be opened. It can be opened. After working so hard for so long, I can't let it fall by the wayside. Otherwise, I won't be able to find such a good opportunity in the future." In the control room, Wang Ximing understood what Zhu Hao meant. That was telling him that, if Zhang Yi was not captured this time, Zhu Hao would die here. And when Zhu Hao died, no one could help him lure Zhang Yi over. Wang Ximing touched his chin, but he didn't trust Zhu Hao that much in his heart. But Wang Ximing has nothing to fear when he thinks that this shelter is an unsolvable defense from the perspective of modern physics. "If you dare to play any tricks, I will burn you to death. Turn you into roast pigs." The corner of Wang Ximing's mouth twitched, and then he pressed the button to open the door. But at this time outside the door, Zhang Yi heard the sound of the machine starting and quickly grabbed Zhu Hao to block him and at the same time held the pistol firmly against his head. This is acting. But again, it's not acting. If any accident happened, he would not hesitate to block the gun with Zhu Hao or blow his head off. In front of Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao, a thick black metal door slowly opened. The door leaf is 3 meters high, and there is no door lock, but mechanically staggered in a way of occlusal, without leaving a single gap. When the door is opened, there is a strong wind of future technology blowing towards us. Behind the door is a 10-meter long passage, all around it sealed with dark silver metal, and dozens of small lights are inlaid on the wall, illuminating the entire passage brightly. It is hard to imagine that this shelter was built 10 years ago. Even today, it is a very advanced building. This is the power of money. Zhu Hao pointed inside. Brother Zhang, let's go in. There is another door inside. After opening, you can enter the shelter. At the end of the passage there is a dark golden metal door. The combination of gold and silver is luxurious and magical. Zhang Yi pointed the gun at Zhu Hao's head and pushed him to walk inside step by step. In fact, he has secretly prepared to deal with all the coming crises. When he and Zhu Hao reached the middle of the passage, the door behind them was also quickly closed. In the control room, Wang Ximing held a red wine glass in one hand and pressed the green button on the console with the other. At the same time, inside the passage, hundreds of small holes suddenly appeared from up, down, left, and right. White gas gushes out, submerging the two in an instant. Wang Ximing quietly observed the changes in the passage, and he heard a burst of fierce abuse. Zhu Hao, you bastard, how dare you rape me? Open the door quickly, or I will kill you. Ha ha ha, Zhang Yi, don't struggle. If you kill me, you will die too. Accept your fate obediently. I don't want your life, I only want your supplies. You fucking dreaming. I'll kill you right now. Do you want to shoot? If you kill me, you don't even want to live. There was a burst of gunfire in the passage. Wang Ximing shook the red wine glass, waiting silently without paying attention. The high-strength hypnotic gas used in the asylum, as long as one inhales a little, it will fall into a coma for up to 24 hours. And even if he wakes up, he will be in a state of weakness. He waited for a full 5 minutes. The gas filled the entire channel and confirmed that both Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao had inhaled a large amount of hypnotic gas and then stopped the switch. We can go over there and tie them up. There was a confident smile on the corner of Wang Ximing's mouth, as if everything was under his control. But he didn't know that Zhang Yi was wearing a gas mask at this time and at the same time used a different space to absorb the gas around him. Zhang Yi just leaned against the wall and pretended to be unconscious while Zhu Hao really passed out. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes slightly and the direction in which he fell was facing the dark golden metal door. Once Wang Ximing appears here, he will immediately draw his gun and destroy that guy. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156 Hypnosis Gas. Zhang Yi leaned against the wall, silently waiting for Wang Ximing's arrival. As expected, the other party did what he had imagined and did not kill him as soon as he came up, using a high-temperature flamethrower. After all, for Wang Ximing, killing Zhang Yi is not a meaningful thing. After a while, the dark golden door slowly opened. Zhang Yi's eyes opened a crack, and the fingers of his right hand were ready to draw his gun and shoot. However, when he saw the face of the person coming, he stopped what he was doing. Because the person who came over was not Wang Ximing, Zhang Yi was already cursing in his heart. Damn Zhu Hao. The information he provided to Zhang Yi did not mention that there were other people in the shelter. According to Zhang Yi's estimate, when people are facing such a crisis, they will not choose to let people other than their close relatives into their house. Unless, like him, he has inexhaustible supplies and chooses Zhao Keira and Uncle Yu, who are very useful helpers. The man who came in was tall and burly, with a dogleg knife in his hand and a bundle of rope hanging around his waist. Zhang Yi has already recognized who this person is. For a while, He often saw this person on TV. He is a film and television star named Lin Zheng, who is said to be a good friend of Wang Ximing. Zhang Yi suppressed the urge to do something in his heart. He knew he couldn't be in a hurry yet. The other party made it clear that he would not kill him for the time being. And before meeting Wang Ximing himself, Zhang Yi couldn't be sure that there were no other backers in this shelter. He has to wait patiently. Lin Zheng came to Zhang Yi and poked his arm with the dogleg knife in his hand. Zhang Yi suddenly felt a little pain, but fortunately he was wearing thick clothes, so the pain was bearable. He squinted his eyes, gritted his teeth without making a sound, and at the same time, stared at the movements in Lin Zheng's hands. If Lin Zheng wanted to attack him, he would immediately fight back. Fortunately, Lin Zheng just tested it casually. Seeing that Zhang Yi didn't respond, he took Zhang Yi's gun and tied Zhang Yi tightly with a rope. As for Zhu Heyo, he had already become like a dead pig because of inhaling hypnotic gas. With great strength, Lin Zheng carried Zhang Yi on his shoulders and walked into the shelter. Zhang Yi squinted his eyes and quietly looked at the scene inside the shelter. I have to say that the life of the rich is really unimaginable for ordinary people. After leaving the passage, you enter a circular hall, which is also full of metal texture rooms full of futuristic technology. It's like the interior scene of a spaceship in a sci-fi movie, but it is more luxurious than in the movie. Lin Zheng threw Zhang Yi to the floor. People are here. This guy's really stupid, and it didn't take a little effort to clean him up. Lin Zheng's voice carried a contemptuous smile. In his opinion, Zhang Yi had already inhaled the hypnotic gas and was bound tightly by him. He was already a bird in a cage. At this time, a man in a yellow nightgown came out from the door next to him. Isn't this expected? I spent $1 billion building this shelter. If even a person like him can't handle it, wouldn't my money be wasted? When Zhang Yi saw that person's face, a slight smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The Lord is here. Wang Ximing took a look at Zhang Yi, who was bound and strong, and felt relieved, and then went to chat with Lin Zheng. And Zhang Yi opened up his own different space. The high-intensity hypnotic gas absorbed before was released. Wang Ximing and Lin Zheng didn't notice anything unusual. They were still chatting there. After getting this kid's now mobile, how about we go out for a walk? I don't know what's going on outside. It's okay to go out for a drive and get some food by the way. The two have already started planning what to do after they get Zhang Yi's now mobile. Wang Ximing smiled and suddenly felt that Lin Zheng in front of him was shaking a little. Lin Zheng, don't shake. Lin Zheng looked surprised. I didn't shake it, but you. Why? How did you become 6? By the time the two realized that something was wrong, it was already too late. Their bodies shook and then fell limply to the ground. Zhang Yi took out a dagger from a different space, cut off the rope binding his hands, and quickly released all the restrictions on his body. Zhang Yi walked over and confiscated all the weapons on the two of them. Wang Ximing's 2 golden desert eagles are very conspicuous. They are all made of gold and have beautiful patterns on them. It's not worth it. Zhang Yi commented lightly. This thing is not as practical as his own police pistol. He put all these dangerous things into his own different space. Then he took out 2 bundles of ropes and tied the 2 people together like Zhang Yi, using very professional tortoise shell binding. That, people always have a bit of a hobby, don't they? In order to prevent these 2 people from using special means to break free like himself, Zhang Yi took out several tie-ties and tied their wrists, thumbs, and legs tightly. After doing this, Zhang Yi looked at the 2 people who were unconscious. According to them, it would take a long time to wake up. Zhang Yi turned his attention to this shelter, which is said to be the most expensive in the world. Big, very huge. The living room in front of me alone has more than 100 square meters of space. The interior decoration style is low-key, luxurious, and connotative. The color is mainly warm yellow, and the tables and chairs are mostly elegant silver gray, which looks very high-end under the warm yellow light. A TV about 100 inches hangs on the north wall. Under the TV cabinet are various game consoles and cassettes. It seems that there are also loyal game lovers. The sofa in the middle of the living room is an imported high-end product, just by looking at its shape. There is also a large bar in the corner, and there are various wine pairings behind it. On the other side is an open island kitchen. There was another door at the back of the living room, and Zhang Yi walked through with a pistol. With a gentle pull, the door opened. When the door was opened, a white light shone on Zhang Yi's face, and when he saw everything in front of him clearly, Zhang Yi was stunned for a moment. He thought the front living room was big enough, and the back was at most a yard with a swimming pool and garden. But he didn't expect that the garden was so big. Looking around, there is a huge ecological park in front of you. There are all kinds of rare flowers and trees in it. It is incredible to see some tropical plants in such a cold time. Not only is there a botanical garden, but a large area has been opened up next to it, which seems to be a farmland. But the farmland seems to be neglected and almost deserted. If he hadn't seen the ridges, Zhang Yi wouldn't have imagined that this wasteland turned out to be farmland. The sense of curiosity in Zhang Yi's heart became stronger and stronger, and he continued to explore ahead. And in the last days, he was really happy to see such a flourishing plant. The temperature in the botanical garden is significantly higher than in the previous house. The roof has ultraviolet lights to promote photosynthesis of plants. Many plants inside are withered, also because there is no special person to take care of it. Zhang Yi walked forward slowly and walked about 100 meters before reaching the end. Then, he saw a zoo-like thing in the back. The reason why it is said to be similar to a zoo is because there are no animals in it, but the cages are still there, and some animal feces can be vaguely seen. Is this a shelter that costs $10 billion US? This is simply a miniature ecological chain. Zhang Yi couldn't help expressing such emotion. What is a rich man? This is called a rich man. The shelter built 10 years ago has already taken into account all aspects of sustainable development. I have to say that the professional team that built the shelter is amazing. Zhang Yi walked all the way forward and walked for a while before reaching the edge of the shelter. Through the frozen window, he vaguely saw a large yard outside. The area covered by this villa is really astonishing. It can be called a perfect castle in the last days. What a nice place. But it's mine from now on. A happy smile appeared on Zhang Yi's face. Living here, isn't it more exciting than that small house with 3 bedrooms and 1 living room? His interest has risen. Just 1 layer is so exciting. What about the other layers? Zhang Yi turned around and went back to the living room, then climbed up the stairs to the 2nd floor. The decoration on the 2nd floor is obviously more fancy than the 1st floor. There are many sofas and lazy loungers in the middle area, and clothes, underwear and slippers are thrown everywhere. The whole place is full of isolation bags for children and grandchildren. In the last days, their lives seemed to be more indulgent. The table was covered with wine bottles, cigarette butts and other rubbish. On the 2 sides, there are separate rooms, and the purpose of the room is written on the label. Game hall, pet room, entertainment room, acacia room, water bedroom. Zhang Yi was as happy as if he had picked up an interesting blind box, rubbed his hands together, and went to open the blind boxes one by one. The game hall is more than 100 square meters, and you can find all the game consoles and cassettes you can imagine, all over the walls. There is even a wall with thousands of extremely rare figurines in glass cabinets. Zhang Yi roughly estimated that the figures on this wall must be tens of millions in size. It will be fun to play games here in the future. Damn, rich people really know how to play. Zhang Yi couldn't help cursing. He really didn't dare to think about the lives of these rich people in the past. Zhang Yi closed the door and couldn't wait to go to other rooms to check. When Zhang Yi came to the pet room, he subconsciously thought it was a house for cats and dogs. But when he opened the room and looked, he was dumbfounded again. It is true that there are cats and dogs in it, but they are not real cats and dogs, but women in cosplay clothes dressed as cat girls, bitches and other animals. They wore very simple clothes, only covering the key points with fluffy underwear. White and round thighs, slender arms, crystal clear shoulders, a jade-like belly, and deliberately bare feet. 10 round toes curled up nervously because they saw a stranger. Facing the stranger who suddenly appeared here with a weapon in hand, the girls in the room shrank in the corner with fear on their faces. A girl looked at Zhang Yi in fear. Her big eyes were full of anxiety. She said to Zhang Yi, who are you? What do you want to do? Chapter 157 3 Cons. There are 3 girls in this room. They are all dressed up charmingly. The key is that each of them has a different style. Some look mature and enchanting, and their bodies are like ripe peaches, as if they will lose water with a light touch. Some look petite and immature, but have staggering sizes, which are typical childlike big breasts. There is also a senior face with a cold and world-weary face, a slender figure of about 1.8 meters, and a perfect body proportion. Zhang Yi has some impressions of her. She seems to be a very famous model with more than 500 million fans online. The moment he saw them, Zhang Yi's original impulse as a man was aroused. He couldn't help sighing. The toys of rich people are high-end, and they are very professional. He walked towards the room with a gun, and the three girls huddled together in fear in the corner. Some are sad, some are pitiful, and some look disgusted. The combination of such complex emotions makes it easier for men to get excited, as expected of a professional. Just one movement and eyes can move people's hearts. If it were an ordinary LSP, I'm afraid I couldn't restrain myself at this time. But the person who came was Zhang Yi, so the result would be slightly different. He glanced at the three of them. Are you Kun? When the three girls heard this address, their expressions instantly became ugly. How can you be innocent for no reason? We are not Kun, we are guests here, and we are here to be guests. Zhang Yi glanced at their bodies, and the meaning in his eyes was self-evident. Which family makes guests dress like this? Could it be the traditional culture of the family? This sentence was sarcasm, and the three girls stretched out their hands in embarrassment to cover it up. But they were exposed too much, and they couldn't cover them with their hands. Zhang Yi looked at them, and wanted to help them. Zhang Yi pulled a chair from the side, and sat opposite the three of them, the gun in his hand shaking slightly. Tell me, where are you all from? Although these three women are beautiful, and have very hot bodies, if you guessed correctly, they are senior female technicians who are skilled, and proficient in various fancy styles. But Zhang Yi still has a cleanliness addiction, and he doesn't like to be friends with others. If they have no other skills, Zhang Yi will drive them out. After all, there were never rightless in his family. That's right, this shelter, which cost $10 billion, belongs to Zhang Yi from now on. When the three women saw the gun in Zhang Yi's hand, they were too afraid to resist. But the tall girl with the high-class face said stubbornly, I'm not Kun. It's not Kun, so what are you? The girl proudly said, she is a celebrity. Lady? Zhang Yi nodded. Oh, that's Kun. A celebrity in Qianhe City is equivalent to a high-ranking Kun, and Zhang Yi, as a local, is still very clear about this. The girl with a senior face stomped her feet angrily. I'm not. I have a master's degree from Qianhe University, an English major set and a national ballet level of C. Zhang Yi nodded. Oh, is that Kun? Several girls were filled with grief and indignation. The mature and sexy girl took a deep breath and said, you're prejudiced against us. The men we come into contact with are the upper class in this society. We just improve our own level through contact with them. Don't compare us with those Kuns. You know, if you want to integrate into the upper class, you need more than a beautiful face and figure. We also need to have a high level of knowledge and rich content. Zhang Yi clapped his hands when he heard the words, do not poke the needle. Then, does your way of contacting men in the upper class include that kind of plural movement with negative distance? Several girls glanced at each other, and the mature and caressing girl argued, this kind of thing will happen. But we are not Kun, we have a choice. Only when we feel that the other party is qualified, we will do it. There will be some intimate encounters along the way that will be very enjoyable. The senior-faced girl also said, my body is up to me. What's the H now? If you still talk about it, it's a bit discriminatory against women. The cute girl also said angrily, don't be prejudiced against us. Zhang Yi smiled. Oh, so you are still Kun. The three girls shouted in unison, we are not. Zhang Yi waved his hands at them. What's the matter? These days, it's not shameful to make money. And you can enter Wang Ximing's house. It seems that you are also the best in the world. If the social atmosphere doesn't allow it, an award should be given to you. This time, the petite and cute girl couldn't stand it anymore. She stared at Zhang Yi and said angrily, do you know how hard we socialite girls work? I have won the national piano competition and I can play Flight of the Bumblebee. Have you ever heard of this piece? The title of Flight of the Bumblebee made Zhang Yi raise his eyebrows. Of course he knows this piece, because he once had a favorite movie called Sea Pianist. The climax of the clip is when the protagonist plays Flight of the Bumblebee. When Zhang Yi heard this piano piece for the first time, he was also dumbfounded. He couldn't imagine that a pianist's hand speed could reach such a level. He looked at the cute girl in front of him in surprise. "You really know how to play?" The cute girl raised her chin proudly. "Of course. I play it really well." The girl with a senior face next to her also said, "I will too." Zhang Yi smiled. A pianist who can play Flight of the Bumblebee proficiently must have at least a professional 8th level. The highest rating for pianos is grade 9. In other words, the two young and beautiful girls in front of Zhang Yi are excellent pianists in the country. And such a girl also came to be Kun. It's really an era when people laugh at the poor, but not at the prostitutes. Thinking about it this way, it's good that the end of the world has come. At least everyone is fair when facing death. Zhang Yi has nothing to say. They come to perform once. At least they can get hundreds of thousands or even millions of red envelopes. Faced with this kind of temptation, most of the goddesses in the eyes of ordinary people cannot resist. When Zhang Yi looked at these beautiful girls again, the fire in his eyes had subsided a lot. He raised his gun and pointed it at the three girls. "Turn around and lie on the wall." When the three girls heard this, a smile flashed in their eyes. "You stinky man, you've been bullying us for a long time. Didn't you just want to do that in the end?" The three of them pretended to be scared, then turned around and leaned against the wall, their three well-shaped buttocks sticking out high. You can tell at a glance that the work is very skillful. Zhang Yi took out a few bundles of rope and some cable ties from the different space, walked over, and tied them up tightly one by one. It is also a professional tortoise-shell binding. At first, the girls thought that Zhang Yi wanted to play with bondage, but later found that Zhang Yi's bondage was getting tighter and tighter. After tying them up, Zhang Yi threw them in the pet room, closed the door and left. It's not time to relax completely yet, and Zhang Yi is not the kind of man with sperm on his head. He will continue to investigate the house to see if there is any danger. Chapter 158 Let 039 S Talk. Zhang Yi searched the other rooms on the second floor again. This floor is mainly for entertainment. In addition to the pet room, there is also an acacia room full of various props, and a water bedroom with a unique taste. But now, the water bedroom is basically abandoned. The overall temperature in the shelter is around 10°C. It should be that the energy consumption is too much, so start saving now. Zhang Yi glanced at the water bedroom, but found 5 or 6 corpses on the ground. No wonder there was a gust of wind when I came in. It turns out that the problem lies here. When Zhang Yi saw those corpses, he was no stranger to them. The 6 corpses were all women, and very beautiful women at that. If Zhang Yi's guess is correct, they are also called socialites, just like the 3 girls in the pet room. The inside of this shelter is not as harmonious as it looks. Zhang Yi said in a flat tone. 9 women and 2 men survived in the shelter of the last days, and could easily evolve into a primitive society. The cause of their deaths is unknown to Zhang Yi, but he can probably guess some of them. It's just that these things have nothing to do with him. But the 3 girls in the pet room must have something to do with it. We have to get rid of them. These women who can even sell their bodies for money. Keeping them is a disaster. A firm killing intent flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. Although it is a pity to do so, Zhang Yi will respect his own reason and do what should be done. After exploring the 2 floors above ground, according to what Zhu Hao said before, Zhang Yi groped to the entrance of the basement and then walked down. Compared with the surface above, the 2 underground floors are mainly prepared for the doomsday shelter. B1 looks like a spaceship overall. 8 independent rooms, all with heavy alloy metal doors. Can't see the keyhole. Zhang Yi guessed that it was opened with a magnetic card or retinal verification. He spent a long time trying to open it. It seems that if you want to know how to use the entire shelter, you have to ask the owner Wang Ximing. Zhang Yi said to himself. He didn't get entangled here, but went to other places to check one by one. In addition to the room in B1, there are other rooms. It seems that because there are too many rooms, I'm afraid that I will not remember them, so I have marked their names with tags. Warehouses, power centers, web servers, consoles, water rooms. Most of the doors are tightly shut, except for the console. Zhang Yi came to the console. The door here was open. I think Wang Ximing was here to monitor everything that happened outside just now. The core of the entire shelter should be here. Zhang Yi walked into the console, and the walls inside were covered with monitors, and there was even a huge screen under his feet. Zhang Yi was dazzled by the various embedded keyboards and buttons on the console. After Zhang Yi did some research, he found some basic ways to use the functions. Because those buttons are marked with Chinese characters, such as the power control of a certain area and the way to open the door. But more applications make Zhang Yi confused. If only I were a computer engineer. Zhang Yi spread his hands helplessly and chose to give up. If there is no instruction manual for this kind of professional thing, you will have to grope until you don't know it. Through monitoring, Zhang Yi confirmed that there was nothing wrong with Wang Ximing and the others, and then went to the second basement floor to check. The second basement is a large stadium. After Zhang Yi turned on the light, what he saw was an extremely open space. He admitted that he was a little taken aback when he saw it. The height of this floor is more than 10 meters, and when you look up, you can see a high dome, which is supported by a thick bracket made of alloy. Basketball courts, tennis courts, and even a large space were developed to make a small golf factory. Luxury. Zhang Yi can only use these two words to describe what he saw. This place is about 20 meters underground, and the temperature is obviously higher than outside. Sure enough, there are places that the severe cold cannot invade. The place is nice, empty and quiet. Zhang Yi decided to set up a shooting range here in the future, dedicated to exercising his supernatural abilities. As the end of the world came longer, he felt the importance of supernatural powers. And after having a development experience, he is even more eager to make himself stronger. Only strength is the fundamental guarantee for survival in the last days. It took Zhang Yi more than half an hour to go around the entire shelter. Next, he had to pry open Wang Ximing's mouth to gain control over the entire shelter. Zhang Yi took the pistol and returned to the ground floor. Wang Ximing and Lin Zheng were still in a comatose state, while Zhu Hao inhaled more hypnotic gas than the two of them, and he was also lying on the ground like a dead fish. Zhang Yi didn't have the patience to wait for them for so long. He took a bucket of water from the sink in the kitchen and poured it roughly on Wang Ximing's head. Although the indoor temperature is around 10 degrees, the taste is very sour with cold water poured over it. Shocked by the cold, Wang Ximing finally raised his heavy eyelids after a long time of effort. Wake up. A deep voice came to his ears. Wang Ximing opened his eyes and saw Zhang Yi in full armor sitting in front of him. Wang Ximing tried to move, but found that his body was bound tightly and he couldn't move. How did you do it? Wang Ximing couldn't understand. How did Zhang Yi complete the counter kill in that situation? Obviously he saw Zhang Yi being tied up into rice dumplings with his own eyes. Zhang Yi explained lightly, to survive in the last days, there must be some way to save one's life. He didn't want to explain too much, and said directly, you don't seem to have time to talk about this topic now, do you? Let's talk about other things. For example, how to cooperate with me well in the future. Only in this way can I get your life. Wang Ximing gradually came to his senses and realized that the current situation was not good for him. His heart was full of grief and indignation. No matter what, he couldn't accept that his indestructible shelter was broken through so quickly. $1 billion. That's $1 billion. The money feels like a waste of money. What do you want? Wang Ximing asked in a deep voice. Zhang Yi smiled slightly. You don't have to be too nervous. You didn't kill me when I came, so I won't hurt you either. Although I'm not a kind person, I have the most basic morals. What's more, what good will it do me to kill you, the majestic prince of the Wang family and the future heir of the Lin group? Wang Ximing's identity is indeed not simple, at least before the end of the world. His parents are bigwigs with a lot of money, and they have a deep background behind them. When Wang Ximing heard Zhang Yi say that he would not hurt him, his nervous mood relaxed a lot. He took a deep breath and said, we can talk about what you want, as long as you don't hurt my life. Chapter 159. Relax. Dizziness is normal. Zhang Yi calmly took out a pack of Jinling 13 hairpins, then took out one and stuffed it into his mouth. Do you smoke? Zhang Yi handed the cigarette to Wang Ximing. Wang Ximing avoided it instinctively. Thank you, I don't smoke this kind. The corner of Zhang Yi's mouth twitched slightly, as expected of a well-known rich man. He was still very picky even at this time. It can be seen that he has not been short of supplies in the past period of time. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry to negotiate terms, but took 2 puffs of cigarettes first, and flicked the ash on the ground. To put it bluntly, the purpose of my coming here is to find a safe place to survive. It's too dangerous outside, the supplies are scarce, and the temperature is cold. You are so big here, and there are not many people besides me, right? Listening to Zhang Yi's plain tone, Wang Ximing calmed down a little. Your purpose is to move here? Don't you want to kill me and become the master of this place? Zhang Yi sneered. Get rid of you? Do I need this? He spread his arms. Your place is too big, even if 100 people come to live here, it will still look spacious. I won't kill people for no reason. What's more, I also hope to take advantage of this opportunity to make friends with Prince Wang. Zhang Yi's attitude seemed quite sincere. Wang Ximing rolled his eyes. Oh, you want to make friends with me? Zhang Yi nodded seriously. Not bad. He stood up from his chair and walked slowly. This snow disaster is indeed very troublesome, and it has also caused a certain degree of chaos in the society. However, this abnormal celestial phenomenon cannot last for too long. Sooner or later, society will return to the previous order. If a small person like me can become friends with a rich man like Wang Gangzi, with your support in the future, won't I be able to rise to the top? A look of pride appeared on Wang Ximing's face. Of course. As long as I support you a little bit, I can make you a master. Don't talk about helping you. In the past, even if I slap you, the compensation can save you 30 years of struggle. He said so on the lips, but he was muttering in his heart. It seems that this person thought that the snowstorm would pass soon. This is the best way. He still fears the order of civilized society and dare not kill me. Zhang Yi smiled and said, that's what I mean. Now everyone gets what they need. I will move here and provide you with what you need at the same time. For example, I can protect your safety. You have seen my methods. And I have transportation. I can go out to find supplies and take you to other places. I believe we will have a very happy cooperation, don't you? Why do you have to fight to death? That's what barbarians do, and Zhang Yi won't do that. Wang Ximing felt more and more relieved. Okay, I can promise you this matter. You can help me untie the rope first. Zhang Yi shook his head. My lord, you are so ignorant of the rules. I have already shown my sincerity, but what about you? If you don't express it, how can I trust you? Wang Ximing's eyes sank. What do you want? I can let you choose whatever you like in this house. If you are short of women, there are 3 cons on the 2nd floor that can be given to you. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes. I don't lack those things. In order to show your sincerity, I hope you will give me the instruction manual of this shelter. Only in this way can I completely trust you. A hesitant expression appeared on Wang Ximing's face. Zhang Yi didn't give him a chance to think, and said bluntly, if it weren't for this, I can't guarantee that I can live here safely. It's just an instruction manual. Besides, even if you don't give it to me, I can figure it out by myself if I spend some time. Wang Ximing frowned and said, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to do it. This shelter is not as easy to control as you think. An expression of displeasure appeared on Zhang Yi's face. My lord, I'm sincerely talking to you about this matter. If you are willing to cooperate, we will get along well. But, he took a deep breath. His eyes became cold. Don't push me too hard. Wang Ximing felt a chill in his heart. He is very afraid of death. From the perspective of courage, he is not even as good as those ordinary people in Yulu community who have experienced the hell of life and death. He is rich, and as long as the snow disaster passes, he can still live happily in the world. So he cherished his life very much. Don't worry, let me ask you, if I promise to give you the instruction manual for this shelter, can you promise not to kill us? Zhang Yi's eyes were firm, and he nodded slowly. As I said, I, Zhang Yi, do not kill innocent people indiscriminately. And after the snow disaster is over, I also hope to be your friend, Prince. Wang Ximing believed what Zhang Yi said. Because he has no other choice at this time, Zhang Yi can kill him at any time. According to Wang Ximing's instructions, Zhang Yi found the instruction manual for this shelter in his computer. Looking at it, Zhang Yi also sighed at the complexity and rigor of this shelter. If Zhang Yi didn't get the instruction manual, he would directly trigger the built-in self-destruct function of the console if he operated indiscriminately. At that time, the entire shelter will be completely sealed, turning into a huge steel tomb. Wang Ximing said to Zhang Yi, "Can you untie me now?" Zhang Yi didn't raise his head. "Don't worry. I have to try to see if the manual you gave me is fake." Zhang Yi took the computer to the control room and tried to operate it. After confirming that there were no problems with the various functions, he nodded in satisfaction. "From now on, the owner of this shelter will officially become me, Zhang Yi." The corners of Zhang Yixiu's mouth almost turned up behind his ears. "I didn't expect to get a top-level shelter so easily. I'm so lucky." He put down his laptop and returned to the living room on the first floor. Wang Ximing looked at him and said, "How about it? Have you verified that there is no problem? Untie me quickly. I feel my body is numb." "Okay, wait a moment." Zhang Yi took a blanket from the sofa and spread it on the floor. He came to Wang Ximing and suddenly pulled out a golden claw knife from his waist. Then he put his arms around Wang Ximing's head and stabbed him in the neck with a pucci. The blood flowed down like a spring. Wang Ximing looked at Zhang Yi in astonishment, as if he couldn't understand why he did what Zhang Yi said, but Zhang Yi still wanted to kill him. But he couldn't speak, and blood and foam were gushing out of his throat. Zhang Yi hugged his head, put him on the blanket, and said softly, "Relax, relax, take a deep breath. Yes, there will be a little dizziness at first, but that's normal. You'll be pain-free in no time." It didn't take long for Wang Ximing to feel pain-free. It's just that he kept his eyes open when he died, as if he was very unwilling. Zhang Yi wrapped him in a blanket so that there would not be a lot of blood on the ground and it would be easier to take care of. He explained softly, "I'm sorry, I'm too lazy to explain it to you carefully. It's just that you have no value to me now, so I can't raise a waist, right?" Chapter 160. After Zhang Yi got rid of Wang Ximing, he also killed Lin Zheng next to him. Luckily, he died in a coma, so he didn't experience much pain. Zhang Yi put the bodies of the two people into a different space and found a place to throw them away. When he was about to go back, there was still blood on the ground, so he found a mop from the bathroom and mopped it up. Zhu Hao still didn't wake up. Zhang Yi stared at him carefully for a minute. If he wanted to kill Zhu Hao, he could do it now, and it would make him ignorant. To kill or not to kill? Zhang Yi hesitated about Zhu Hao's handling. After all, without Zhu Hao's help, he couldn't find this place. Without his cooperation, Zhang Yi would not have been able to successfully enter the shelter and finally seize control of it. However, Zhang Yi couldn't accept a man he couldn't trust living under the same roof as him. After much deliberation, Zhang Yi made a decision. He didn't rush to deal with Zhu Hao, but returned to the second floor. There are still 3 Khans here, and it would be a waste of rice to stay, so it's better to deal with them quickly. Zhang Yi came to the second floor and opened the door of the pet room. The 3 women were tightly bound and sat back to back on the soft carpet, with a large area of fair skin and deliberately exposed flesh. I believe that every normal man will drool laughter seeing it. To be honest, if Zhang Yi didn't know that they were Khan, he might indeed consider keeping them, even if he performed Flight of the Bumblebee for himself every day. The mouths of the 3 women were all blocked by Zhang Yi, whimpering, their eyes full of pleading. They seemed to feel that this man was very dangerous and began to worry about their own safety. Zhang Yi walked over, pulled them up from the ground, and led them downstairs. Passing by the living room in the middle of the second floor, he saw clothes, underwear, stockings, uniforms, and offspring isolation bags thrown everywhere. Zhang Yi stopped. Seeing this, the 3 women thought that Zhang Yi was moved by them. They all looked at Zhang Yi with pleading eyes and moved towards him. Zhang Yi ignored them, but went to pick up their clothes and then continued to drive them down. The 3 women didn't realize what had happened until they got close to the passage of the gate and shook their heads in horror. Zhang Yi took out his claw knife, cut off the ropes on their bodies, and threw the clothes to them. "Get out of here. Go out and fend for yourself." Zhang Yi has no grievances with them, so he doesn't want to kill them. This is his bottom line. but he also wouldn't keep these scheming cun in his house that would be leaving danger. As for their life and death after going out, it has nothing to do with Zhang Yi. It is this world that killed you, so don't blame me, Zhang Yi. Although it felt like taking off his pants and farting, Zhang Yi didn't want his hands to be stained with the blood of people with whom he had no grudges or conflicts of interest. This is the little humanity left in him in the last days. When the three women heard that Zhang Yi wanted to drive them out and looked at the vast snow-covered world outside the window, they all burst into tears in fright. Several women begged Zhang Yi bitterly, but Zhang Yi was indifferent. Even when they suggested that Zhang Yi would enjoy the highest level of service, Zhang Yi did not waver. When choosing between the eldest brother and the second younger brother, it is obviously the most important thing to protect the eldest brother first. He doesn't believe in the human nature of a group of cuns. It's that simple. The gun in Zhang Yi's hand pointed at them, and the three women were desperate, so they could only quickly put on their clothes and leave the shelter. As soon as the three women went out, Zhang Yi closed the entrance of the passage. Looking at their fur upper body, black silk lower body and high heels, Zhang Yi shook his head. If you freeze to death, you can still keep 3 beautiful flesh specimens. It's better than being beaten to death by my own hands. Now, there are only 2 living people in the room, Zhang Yi and Zhu Hao. Zhu Hao inhaled a lot of hypnotic gas, and it is unknown when he will wake up. Zhang Yi also tied him up for safety reasons. Today his bundling technique has improved a lot. And Zhang Yi, who just took control of the entire Young Manor 101, began to study the internal structure of this super shelter. Zhang Yi opened several doors that he had no authority to open before. Zhang Yi came to the warehouse on the basement floor, and he really wanted to know how many supplies were left in the shelter. When I came to the warehouse door, I used the authority key, which is a black metal magnetic card, to open the warehouse. Boom. The heavy metal door opened from the middle, revealing a round door leaf, and white air conditioning came out, making Zhang Yi shiver. The first thing Zhang Yi saw was the mess all over the floor. Many cans were thrown on the ground, the contents inside were spilled all over the floor, and the low temperature environment has not yet rotted. Zhang Yi walked in slowly wearing snow boots. He saw that it was a warehouse of about 200 square meters, and there were not many materials left in it. Especially for food. It seems that for the convenience of storage, most of them are canned. No wonder it was thrown everywhere on the ground. It seems that the prince vomited from eating canned food. Zhang Yi shook his head helplessly. The warehouse is mainly filled with food. Judging from the remaining amount, if it is eaten by one person, it can last at least half a year. But Mr. Wang is the master who has been wealthy all his life, and he eats delicacies from mountains and seas. These canned foods stored on a whim 10 years ago are not to his liking at all. What's more, he had to give Lin Zheng and his family's cun to eat. The consumption concept of rich people is really different from that of ordinary people. If it were me, the entire warehouse must be full of canned and compressed food, at least enough to feed one person for decades. Zhang Yi couldn't help but sigh with emotion. When Zhanlong Security Company originally designed this shelter, it considered the issue of doomsday survival, but they ignored the eating habits of the prince. According to Zhu Hao, most of the canned food here was cleared out by Wang Ximing, who disliked it and got in the way. Zhang Yi walked over, brought a can, and opened it with a claw knife. Inside is a large can of luncheon meat. If this thing is thrown into the Yulu community, it may cause a bunch of people to fight desperately. But I don't want to eat this thing, so let's leave it here first. Maybe it will be needed in the future. Zhang Yi didn't have much interest in these foods either. There are fresh ingredients in his different space, as well as the delicacy of ready-made chef dishes. Apart from the warehouse, Zhang Yi also looked at some other places. There are more than a dozen rooms up and down in the shelter, and the outside is tightly closed with a thick metal door, which can only be opened with a magnetic card key. And the highest authority is in the hands of Zhang Yi. In other words, these rooms can be turned into solid cages at any time. If Zhang Yi does not open the door, the person locked inside will not be able to open this electromagnetic lock unless he has the strength of several thousand kilograms. The more Zhang Yi looked at it, the more satisfied he felt. But when he went to check the energy system, he noticed a problem with the shelter. This super shelter covers an area of thousands of square meters, with a total of 4 floors, and the energy consumption is extremely terrifying. The energy consumption of power supply and heating alone is 50 times that of Zhang Yi's safe house. In other words, with Zhang Yi's current energy storage capacity, the maximum time to maintain the operation here is only 5 years. Although it is a problem, it is not a big problem. Zhang Yi rubbed his chin, and he also had a solution. There are large gas stations outside, and I can solve this problem by emptying a few more gas stations when I go out. After checking the problems of the entire shelter, Zhang Yi's heart was completely at ease. Compared with my hut, which cost only 800 million Chinese dollars, the defense and comfort here have been improved by far more than one grade. Even the furniture in the house was bought from the world's top furniture dealers. Zhang Yi returned to the living room on the first floor. He added energy to the entire shelter for another half a year. Now the temperature in the room has risen to 27 degrees, warm and cozy. I will live in this place from now on. However, if I can have a few more obedient and sensible women to play poker with me, then life will be perfect. To make a deck of cards, at least 4 women are needed. They're in charge of playing cards, and I'm in charge of watching them play under the table. Hey, that's right. Zhang Yi was lying on the sofa, squinting his eyes happily, thinking about the beautiful life in the future. Chapter 161 Let 039 S go before I change my mind. After Zhang Yi rested for a while, he took some awakening agent from the different space and gave it to Zhu Hao. In order to make him wake up quickly, some ice water was poured on his face. After struggling for a while, Zhu Hao opened his eyes exhausted. Hiss, it's so cold. Seeing Zhang Yi in front of him clearly, Zhu Hao was stunned for a moment, and then his face was filled with ecstasy. Brother Zhang, you succeeded? He looked left and right, trying to find Wang Ximing's figure, but he saw nothing. Zhang Yi didn't speak, but just untied the rope on his body. Zhu Hao himself didn't expect that this time he fell asleep and captured Wang Ximing's luxury shelter. When he woke up, the result of lying down made him happy. However, he was very curious why Zhang Yi woke up so quickly, even though both of them had been hit by the hypnotic gas in the trap. And it seems that he also occupied the shelter. Brother Zhang, where is Wang Ximing? How did you deal with him? Zhu Hao asked curiously. Zhang Yi said indifferently, have you forgotten? I'm the king of urban soldiers, a master who came down from the mountains, and a mercenary who returned from the battlefield. Is it still a matter to deal with a mere Wang Ximing? Zhu Hao laughed heartily. Ha ha ha. Brother, you are really amazing. I really didn't misread you. From now on, I'll follow you wholeheartedly. With you covering me, I won't have to worry about survival anymore. Zhang Yi picked up a heavy mountaineering bag from the sofa and put it in front of Zhu Hao. These things are rewards for you. Take a look. Zhu Hao's eyes lit up. He smiled and rubbed his hands together. How embarrassing this is. You're welcome, you deserve it. Zhang Yi said lightly. Zhu Hao is no longer reserved. He hasn't eaten normal food for a long time. In front of Zhang Yi, he opened the zipper of the mountaineering bag. Wow, there are a lot of food in front of you. Biscuits, bread, chocolate bars, chicken drumsticks, cream cakes, cupcakes. A whole mountaineering bag is stuffed to the brim, and it weighs 30 or 40 catties if you just carry it. The corners of Zhu Hao's excited mouth almost reached behind his ears. Brother Zhang, you are really my dear brother. Whatever you need me to do in the future, you just say, as long as I frown, I'm not human. Zhu Hao grabbed a pack of chicken legs, and while tearing the packaging bag, he expressed his loyalty to Zhang Yi. After Zhang Yi heard this sentence, a smile finally appeared on his face. Oh, you said that. I didn't force you. He pointed out with his chin. Take these things and leave. It is impossible for Zhang Yi to keep Zhu Hao, but his conscience does not allow him to act ungrateful. No matter how bastard Zhu Hao is, he did help him a lot in this matter. So Zhang Yi decided to give him enough food and let him go out to fend for himself. The corner of Zhu Hao's mouth was tearing at the packaging bag of the drumstick, and he was stunned when he heard this sentence. Time seemed to be frozen. He stared blankly at Zhang Yi. His body froze. Zhang Yi looked down at him calmly. His eyes were indifferent, but contained an irresistible will. After a while, Zhu Hao came back to his senses. His heartbeat accelerated crazily, and even tinnitus appeared, as if there was an electric current rushing in his ears. He couldn't accept this reality. Obviously I have successfully joined Zhang Yi's team, and obviously I helped him get this luxurious and safe shelter. But why didn't he let himself stay? Zhu Hao looked at Zhang Yi. His eyes turned red. He said to Zhang Yi with pleading eyes, "Brother Zhang, what did you just say? I didn't hear clearly." He hoped it was just him hallucinating. But soon, Zhang Yi said to him word by word, "You can't stay here. Take the reward I gave you and leave here." As soon as Zhang Yi's words fell, 2 lines of clear tears flowed from the corners of Zhu Hao's eyes instantly. Holding the mountaineering bag in front of him, he took 2 steps back excitedly and curled up in the corner of the wall to gain a sense of security. "You promised to keep me. You promised me yourself." Zhang Yi shook his head helplessly. "It's true that I promised you, but I can deny it. We are all adults, and we should understand that verbal agreements are the easiest to go back on. It's been like this in the past, let alone now." Zhang Yi played a rascal and was very bachelor. For his own safety, he can ignore any moral principles. This behavior made Zhu Hao cry even harder. He curled up like a helpless child and yelled at Zhang Yi in grief and indignation, "You can't treat me like this. You can't say nothing. I've helped you so much. I don't need you to give me anything else, as long as you protect me to live. Can't you accept even this condition? If you look like this, you will die alone in the future, and no one will trust you and stay by your side." After Zhang Yi listened, he just smiled lightly, with a contemptuous expression. "Oh, so what? At least I'm still alive. But because I lost my life, because of my soft heart, I have nothing." He didn't bother to argue with Zhu Hao, because it was completely unnecessary. The strength between the 2 people is not at the same level. Whatever he asked Zhu Hao to do, Zhu Hao must do. Zhang Yi waved his hand to the outside. "Let's go. Save some of these foods, enough for you for a month. Find a way to survive during this month. I have done my best to you." Zhu Hao shook his head desperately. "No, I won't go. It's too cold outside. Coming from Yulu community, the whole road is covered with snow and ice. From here, death is only a matter of time." After feeling this warm and happy shelter, how could he leave? Zhang Yi smiled. Then he raised the gun. "Do you have to force me to do this? I hope we can separate peacefully, instead of letting me point a gun at your head." Seeing Zhang Yi raising his gun, the fear on Zhu Hao's face grew stronger. "I can't go. I still have your poison on me." Zhang Yi's tone became colder. "There is no poison at all. It's just a colored conventional medicine. You can't die." Zhu Hao's face turned pale. He was originally deceived by Zhang Yi. "Then you can't drive me away. How can you break your promise?" He raised the mountaineering bag in his hand. "I built a shelter for you, and you just gave me this little thing. It's not enough." Zhang Yi took a deep breath. His good temper is slowly being worn out. He stared at Zhu Hao. His tone became emotionless. "But don't forget, you owe me your life too." "What? How can there be anything?" "Of course. When you were in the community, you should have been beaten to death by me. But I didn't kill you. Don't you owe me your life?" Zhang Yi said. "Now, I will use your life and this package of food as a reward. You have made a lot of money." He pointed at the door with his pistol and opened a door with his left hand through the remote control. "Let's go. It's too late. Maybe I'll change my mind." Chapter 162. I gave you a chance. Zhang Yi's eyes had turned cold, and the pistol was pointed at Zhu Hao's forehead. The black muzzle of the gun reminded Zhu Hao of Zhang Yi's cold-blooded killing scene. He knew that Zhang Yi was not joking with him, but he was aggrieved and panicked. His heart was full of hatred for Zhang Yi at this moment. The radiance of hatred was particularly obvious in his eyes, and the eyeballs were covered with bloodshot eyes. "Okay, I'll go." Zhu Hao gritted his teeth and walked towards the passage with an expression of unwillingness. As he left, he took another look at the luxurious decorations inside the shelter. Even he had never enjoyed such a luxurious living environment in the past. A strong resentment was stuck in his chest, and he couldn't spit it out. So when he walked in front of the passage, Zhu Hao suddenly turned around, glared at Zhang Yi viciously and said, "Zhang Yi, you don't keep your promise, and sooner or later you will be punished." Zhang Yi just looked at him calmly. Zhu Hao chuckled, turned and walked into the passage. Zhang Yi stared at his back for several seconds. After hesitating for a moment, Zhang Yi raised his pistol and pointed it at the back of Zhu Hao's head. Boom. A transparent hole appeared in Zhu Hao's head. Instant brain death. Without pain, he fell limply in the passage. Zhang Yi sighed, looked at Zhu Hao's body and said, "Anger doesn't make you stronger, you need strength." He walked up to Zhu Hao and picked up the backpack on his back. "I originally planned to let you live, but why did you seek death yourself? To kill or not to kill?" In fact, Zhang Yi has been hesitating. Out of sticking to his heart, Zhang Yi decided to let Zhu Hao leave. It was Zhu Hao's last sentence that helped him change his mind. "I've let you go, so I'm not being ungrateful. That's when we are both clean. Who told you to threaten me later? It's reasonable for me to kill you." Zhang Yi's logic was self-consistent, and he nodded very satisfied. In this young manner, Zhu Hao is the only person who knows his identity. Moreover, Zhu Hao also has a certain understanding of the internal structure of the shelter. Maybe one day, he will bring trouble to Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi felt a little grateful to Zhu Hao, because he gave Zhang Yi a reasonable reason to kill him. After killing people, Zhang Yi also took Zhu Hao's body into the different space. Then he turned on the stereo worth more than 1,000 million in the room, and played a cheerful tune. "Mama, just kill a demon. Put a gun against his head. Pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun. But now I've gone and thrown away." Zhang Yi brought a mop and a mop from the bathroom, and while whistling, he happily mopped up the blood on the ground. "Hopefully this is the last time I kill someone. No one in this place knows about my past, and no one will come to bother me. It would be great if I live here until the end of the last days, or until the day I die of old age. However, it should be difficult." Zhang Yi smiled and said to himself. Soon, he cleaned up the blood on the ground. He was the only living person in the whole room, so it was extraordinarily quiet. It's just that the house is too big, so it will be a little bit boring. Go back and bring Ken here. A mature man must be accompanied by a beautiful woman, and this kind of life is interesting. As for Uncle Yu, when it comes to Uncle Yu, Zhang Yi has other ideas. This shelter is very large and there are many houses, but Zhang Yi is not very willing to let Uncle Yu live in it. After all, he and Zhao Ke are still in the honeymoon period, hoping to have space for the two of them. And she can always come up with some new tricks for Zhang Yi. If outsiders are at home, it will affect her performance. For example, a naked white shirt or a naked apron or something. There are other men in the house, and the two of them can't use it. Anyway, I already have a better shelter. Why don't I leave that safe house to Uncle Yu? He blocked a bullet for me. I owe him a favor, and I repay him by giving him a good living environment. Secondly, there is no good way to put that safe house into a different space for the time being. Why not just stay in Yulu community as a backup base? In case of need in the future, I can go back to live. Then someone needs to stay and watch for me. Zhang Yi's calculations are very clear in his heart, and in this way, the matter will be perfectly resolved. Uncle Yu must also be very grateful to him. There was just one problem, and he still had to help Uncle Yu solve it. That's, that aspect that men understand. Both Zhang Yi and Uncle Yu are men in normal physical condition. One is in their 20s and the other is in their 40s, and they are physically strong, so they naturally have physical and psychological needs. Zhang Yi killed Zelimari and wanted to make it up to Uncle Yu with a woman. I promised Uncle Yu that I would find him a better one. But in the community, there are not many women alive, and there are even fewer who meet the conditions. It's a bit difficult to solve. Forget it. Let's look back at this problem slowly. It's really not possible. Let him find a few women in the community to live with, and make do with it. The conditions are limited, and sometimes it is really not too picky. Zhang Yi sat on the sofa. In front of him was a inch TV. He was curious about what Wang Ximing would watch on weekdays, so he found the remote control and turned on the TV. The black screen gradually brightened. Zhang Yi walked to the bar, and the bar was filled with all kinds of brand name drinks, many of which Zhang Yi had never even heard of, and they were all drinks specially provided by foreign wine estates. Zhang Yi poured himself a glass of fresh beer and watched the program on TV while drinking. I thought I was seeing the few remaining official channels, but I didn't expect that the face of a white hostess appeared on it. Wow. Well, Zhang Yi admits that his English is limited to set 6, and his spoken English is even worse. He couldn't understand what it said at all. Strange, how can you receive foreign channels? It stands to reason that Blizzard has affected the transmission of signals, and the range of signals that mobile phones can receive is limited. How did he do it? Zhang Yi was a little surprised and walked to the front of the TV, then picked up the remote control to change channels. After switching, it is still a foreign channel. Keep switching. Zhang Yi actually saw dozens of foreign channels. Zhang Yi thought for a while, and immediately understood what was going on. There must be a super powerful network system in this shelter. Zhang Yi took a sip of the wine, then turned around, and went to the console to check. Following the route, he really caught the clue. There is a secret door in the control room. After opening, a separate server, that is the size of a wardrobe, is revealed. I even set up a server in my own home, but you really have it. Zhang Yi couldn't help laughing, and his eyes gradually lit up. Although I don't understand how it is done, but according to the received signal, it can be judged that the network system in this shelter is super powerful. The signal transmission capability can even reach the global level. In this way, Zhang Yi can obtain information on a global scale through the internet. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163. It is worthy of being a shelter with a cost of $10 billion and everything inside is at the top level in the world 10 years later. With this series of network facilities, Zhang Yi can obtain external information more accurately. After all, the major domestic news stations only know to broadcast some entertainment news every day, although they report it as serious news. Zhang Yi sat on a chair and began to browse some information on the international network. At present, the information he can get is limited to Xianhai City, so he is also very curious about the current situation of the outside world. After some browsing, the basic situation is similar to what Zhang Yi thought. Because of the extremely cold environment, most organisms die. The lack of circulation of information and intelligence has made it impossible to obtain an accurate number of deaths worldwide. However, according to the mathematical model of Hopkins University's underground laboratory, there are only about 85 billion people left in the world's 20 billion people. Nearly 3/4 of it was wiped out in just 1 month, and it will not be easy to keep 5% in the future. Zhang Yi sighed. But even in this environment, human beings have to resist the extremely cold temperature on the one hand, and on the other hand, they continue to fight and fight. The extremely low temperature has brought human production activities to a standstill. There is no way to grow food, and no way to mine resources. This also causes the current food and energy on the planet to become limited, and in short supply. For these things, wars broke out everywhere. As small as between people, as large as between some small countries. Food, energy, these two things are still the most crazy things in the last days. It's a good thing I don't have any. Zhang Yi took a deep breath, thankful that he was well prepared. He continued to browse the webpage, and suddenly saw news about mutants. Mutant is a name used by a mysterious website in the United States for mutants. It comes from their once extremely popular comics. Zhang Yi immediately sat up straight. This information is what he is eager to obtain now. Because of the mutation of his own body, he got the ability of space. But he knew very little about mutations. Zhang Yi got a lot of foreign information about mutants through searching on the internet. First, the variation of organisms is widespread worldwide. So far, mutation individuals have been found in hundreds of countries. Among them are not only humans, but also mutated animals, insects, and plants. There are good and bad directions for mutation. Some creatures have undergone positive mutations and acquired powerful abilities different from ordinary people. Zhang Yi saw that in the icy and snowy field of Rakshamayokshin, a girl opened her right hand and created a ball of flame out of thin air. But the burning lasted only 2 seconds before the flames went out, and the girl passed out. Under this temperature, the power of flames has been awakened. To be honest, it's a bit miserable. Zhang Yi sighed boredly. Later, he saw pictures of other mutants on the internet. Someone's body became huge and distorted, and the whole body was covered in ugly zombie green, a bit like the Hulk in the comics. But the appearance of the body is even out of their human form, which is extraordinarily weird. There are also mutants whose bodies have been split, and parts of their own bodies can be removed, and they can still maintain their activity. There are not many images on the internet, and the information on some mutants is limited to rumors. All of the above are barely regarded as positive mutations, resulting in biological evolution. But there are also some miserable people whose bodies were directly destroyed by the radiation of gamma rays. Instead of gaining a powerful ability, it was distorted out of shape. That feeling is a bit like a creature that has experienced strong nuclear radiation. Zhang Yi carefully read all the information that could be searched, and then silently remembered it in his heart. So far, the number of mutants that have appeared in the world is not too many, but there must be ones who are hiding abilities like themselves. This also shows that the outside world is still very dangerous. Zhang Yi strengthened his determination to live in the shelter. I'll go back first and bring Kara over. Zhang Yi turned off the computer, got up and packed his equipment, and planned to go back to Yulu community to pick up Zhao Kena. After a long time of love, he got used to Zhao Kena's company by his side. Living with a beautiful and sensible woman makes life less boring. Zhang Yi prepared all the equipment for his whole body, and then opened the thick metal door of the shelter. When opening the door, the shape and sound of the futuristic technological style is really fascinating. Zhang Yi came outside with a gun in his hand. There are a few lines of footprints left on the ground, which should belong to those 3 guns. It is a world of ice and snow, and the clothes they wear are relatively simple, so they may not survive long if they find a house to hide. Is it too wasteful for me to do this? Zhang Yi sighed a little. It has to be said that the high-ranking Kun in Xianhei City, the so-called ladies, is of really high quality. No worse than some movie stars. Zhang Yi promised Uncle Yu that he would find some healthy women for him to help him relieve his depression. At first, he really thought about giving these women to Uncle Yu. But after thinking about it, he finally gave up. After all, such a woman is too scheming, and she will do anything to achieve her goal. If Uncle Yu is bewitched one day, it is likely to cause big troubles for Zhang Yi. Forget it. What a pity. There will always be a more suitable woman. Zhang Yi walked outside while talking. He didn't intend to take out the snowmobile here. After all, snowmobiles are very rare in the south, and others may know his identity through this thing. Just as he was walking near Villa 204, he suddenly heard a woman's voice. Please wait. Okay. Zhang Yi's footsteps paused slightly, and the reason why he stopped was because he felt that the voice was very familiar. I always feel that I must have heard it somewhere, and it is a kind that I can often hear. Wait a moment. What are you waiting for? Waiting for husband? Zhang Yi recalled that this is a classic movie line, once popular all over the internet. Zhang Yi would review it from time to time. He looked towards the source of the sound and put his finger on the trigger. At the door of Villa 204, a figure wrapped in a black down jacket appeared there. Seeing Zhang Yi looking at her, she moved this way happily. Please wait a moment. I have something to say to you. When Zhang Yi heard the childish voice, Zhang Yi completely confirmed who the person in front of him was. There was an expression of surprise in his eyes. Are you a big honey? Chapter 164. Take a bath first. The woman wearing a long black down jacket in front of her walked up to Zhang Yi out of breath. She peeled off the scarf, revealing a fair, pink, melon-seeded face that could be broken by blows. Zhang Yi recognized her. Presumably there are not many netizens and who don't know her. She is the hottest top-notch florette in recent years. The woman that countless men yearn to be close to most in their sleep. Boss Yang Mi. According to Zhu Heiyou, the people living in Yang Manor are either rich or noble, including the top class in the entertainment industry. And Boss Yang naturally has the strength to buy a house here. Zhang Yi saw ripples in her heart. He doesn't have the habit of chasing stars, but as a physiologically normal man, of course he likes beautiful female stars. Especially for women with beautiful legs and big breasts, it is impossible to extricate themselves. so it's no surprise that he has liked Boss Yang for a long time. How much do you like it? Let's put it this way, countless lonely nights cannot do without her company. There are a lot of high tech about her in the hard drive, such as A&I, although she is a few years older than Zhang Yi and a divorced wife. For Zhang Yi, not only is it not a deduction item, but it is even more fragrant. After Boss Yang saw Zhang Yi, his big eyes revealed his pity, and he said timidly, I haven't eaten for 3 days, can you take me away? I don't want to die here. There seemed to be a pair of hooks in her eyes, which could hook out a man's soul. As an actress, although her acting skills have been criticized, she is very good at seducing men. This time she took the initiative to come out, hoping to take a gamble and use her beauty to gain a chance to survive. Zhang Yi looked at her without making a sound. To be honest, he was still very excited. After all, she is a female star I like, and now she has offered to deliver it to her door. Who wouldn't want to compete with her for real skills? Don't you want to change you? But Zhang Yi still needs to consider the security issue. He frowned. In this environment, everyone's life is not easy. If you want me to take you away, you need to give me a full and sufficient reason. Boss Yang bit his lip slightly. This action was really pure and lustful. The pink lips are crystal clear. Cherry's Iokow doesn't know if eating will be troublesome. This woman is really naturally charming. Someone once said that among the 4 young actresses in Huaguo, Boss Yang might not be the one with the most beautiful face, but she must be the one that most arouses male fantasies. Zhang Yi may be affected by the celebrity halo, always feels that she is helpless now, she is pitiful, and the appearance of letting others bully her is even more attractive. Boss Yang took a step forward, looked at Zhang Yi pitifully with the eyes of a little rabbit, and said in a soft voice, I just want one bite. As long as you are willing to give it to me, I can promise you any conditions. One bite food. Looking at her pink cherry mouth, Zhang Yi didn't know how to refuse. Straightforward, simple and direct. She acted so pitifully, like a weak little white rabbit. Ah no, it was a big white rabbit. But for Zhang Yi's suggestive request, he didn't hesitate at all. Compared with female doctors like Zhao Ke, her thinking is more mature. No wonder I can start my own film and television company, being both an artist and a boss. Zhang Yi knew that she was not as easy to bully as she appeared on the surface. Okay. Contrast cute. I feel more excited. Zhang Yi said to her, come with me. He turned around the same way, giving up the idea of going back to Yulu community to pick up Zhao Ke. After all, there are still a lot of supplies left for them, and they are not in a hurry to go back. Seeing this, Boss Yang breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, her charm is still there. Fortunately, this is a young and energetic man. Boss Yang followed Zhang Yi step by step to Young Manor 101. She looked at the villa in front of her in surprise. Isn't this Wang Siming's home? Zhang Yi smiled slightly. This is my home now, he said, took out the magnetic card key, and opened the door. Boss Yang's eyes were full of curiosity, and he followed Zhang Yi into the room. The temperature in the room was 27 degrees, very warm and pleasant. Soon Boss Yang felt hot all over, and quickly took off his thick clothes. And Zhang Yi was unambiguous, taking off the cold-proof clothes on his body very skillfully. Boss Yang took off a few coats, revealing his tight body wrapped in a black sweater. The delicate little face, which was obviously the size of a palm, looked like a porcelain doll, but her figure was so enchanting that it made people want to have a nosebleed. Especially that proud bosom that almost tore apart the sweater. Zhao Ke's breasts are already big enough, at the level of 36D. But Boss Yang's bust is bigger than Zhao Ke's by visual inspection, at least with 39D strength. Zhang Yi remembers that she was not at this level when she first debuted, but she may have made great progress after getting married. Moreover, her height is less than 1.6 meters 5, and her petite figure and amazing size make her even more shocking. The two slender legs are not well proportioned like Zhao Ke's, but have a soft taste, which seems easy to handle. And the little feet in black socks are even more outrageously petite, no more than size 34. Zhang Yi glanced at his wide palm, which could be completely wrapped with one hand. No wonder the literati in ancient times loved women's little feet. Imagine the scene where she stretched out her little feet towards you with a shy face, and then you grabbed her. Zhang Yi's back molars were almost crushed. This KO thief, he is sure. Boss Yang felt Zhang Yi's undisguised gaze and bit his lip lightly. How could she not know what the man in front of her was thinking? But she also knew that, since she chose to use her beauty to seek shelter from a man, she couldn't pretend to be reserved. She calmly walked across to Zhang Yi and sat down. Even wearing a black sweater and long johns, but with such a good figure, wearing more clothes is more imaginative than not wearing them. "Thank you for letting me in," said softly in the lovely clip voice. "What is your relationship with the master here?" she asked carefully. Boss Yang and Wang Ximing naturally knew each other. But now she didn't see Wang Ximing, but Zhang Yi put on the air of master, which surprised her. Zhang Yi did not answer her question. He asked back, "Are you familiar with Wang Ximing?" Boss Yang nodded lightly. "How many people in our circle are unfamiliar with him?" "Oh, so that means your friendship is not bad." Zhang Yi's smile was a little playful. Boss Yang quickly denied, "That's not true. It's just that he is a very famous person and his family is rich. So we usually meet in some activities," she said with some self-mockery. "That kind of young man won't really take us stars seriously." Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows, poured her a glass of water, and handed it over. "Then you don't care about his problems. In short, you remember, the current owner of this place is me." Zhang Yi is not afraid that his murder of Wang Ximing will be exposed. After all, the real big shot will not hide in the shelter of his own home. No matter what billionaires or celebrities, their lives are worth nothing in the last days. "Thank you." Boss Yang took a sip of the water. After entering the room, as the temperature of the body slowly rose, an unbearable itching feeling also began to appear. After all, she hadn't showered in a while. Boss Yang scratched the floor uneasily with his little feet in black socks, and then made a request. "Can I borrow the bathroom here?" Zhang Yi pointed in the direction of the bathroom very generously. "Please feel free." Boss Yang thanked him very politely, then turned around and walked to the bathroom. After she closed the door from the inside, Zhang Yi silently picked up the remote control at hand and then turned on the 100-inch TV on the wall. Chapter 165 Don 039 T come in. Who would install surveillance in the bathroom? If the person is poor, we usually call it a pervert. If the person is relatively rich, we call it the taste of a playboy and the elegance of a rich man. As a well-known womanizer, Wang Ximing is absolutely outstanding in playing. So he installed a waterproof camera in the bathroom of his home. Zhang Yi is a very polite person, so he didn't ask Yang Mi to take off her clothes for him to check after entering the door. But for the sake of safety, even if he was extremely unwilling to do this in his heart, he still had to read it carefully with his own eyes, so as to prevent Yang Mi from being a potential safety hazard. Zhang Yi turned on the TV and turned down the volume. In the camera, Yang Mi just unbuttoned her bra and took off the things that had bound her for a long time. The raging beast was unleashed. She let out a long breath. Zhang Yi also couldn't help but took out a bag of potato chips, staring intently while eating snacks. In the bathroom, Yang Mi didn't know that an honest gentleman could clearly see her every move. The camera is 5 million pixels. Even if it is 3 miles away, it can capture the scenery in the distance clearly. She ran her hands down her buttocks, shedding the last bit of cover, then raised her right foot to remove it from her leg and put it in the basket next to it. The bathroom has a large space, more than 80 square meters, and the huge gold-plated jacuzzi in the middle is like a fish pond. She stood under the shower, washing her body with hot water. It's been a long time since she took a bath, and she felt unbearably itchy all over her body. Especially when entering a warm environment, it feels like there are little bugs crawling. So she had to clean every corner of her body inch by inch. The hot water drenched her hair, and she raised her head to rinse her face with water. Comfortable and warm, but I was also thinking about what to do next. After seeing Zhang Yi appearing in this community, she decided to take a gamble and desperation. And the only price she can pay is her body. That makes countless men dream of it. But after seeing Zhang Yi, she relaxed a lot in her heart. Although the man in front of him looked dangerous, but he was handsome and tall, not an ugly old man. This made Yang Mi feel more balanced in her heart. If it's this man, even if I stay with him for a while, maybe it's not a loss. There was a helpless smile on the corner of Yang Mi's mouth. Given the choice, she'd rather not have to. Although she is in the entertainment circle, she is not one of those sluts who rely on unspoken rules to rise to the top. The Yang family is considered prominent in the capital and has quite a background. She was able to get to where she is today entirely due to her own ability and family background. Even though she has been married once, her body and spirit are clean. It's just a deal, she muttered to herself, touching his proud body with both hands. I just need someone to protect me, give me food and a comfortable place to live. After the snowstorm has passed, I will draw a clear line with him, Yang Mi said in a soft voice. Her eyes became determined. In the living room, Zhang Yi could hear her talking to herself clearly. While feasting his eyes, he ate snacks. As the saying goes, the beauty is delicious. Looking at the beautiful scenery, his appetite improved a lot. She's a smart woman, and that's fine. Zhang Yi hates stupid women very much, because most of the stupid women are the Holy Mother, which will annoy him a lot. A smart woman like Yang Mi knows how to trade her body in exchange for living conditions, but Zhang Yi feels a lot easier. In this way, he also saves the hypocritical talk about feelings. All he needs is to satisfy his fantasies about the goddess of his dreams on her body, and make this empty house a little more crowded. One Yang Mi, one Zhao Keita, both of them are intellectual beauties. With them by their side, Zhang Yi's life will obviously not be boring. Even doubt is who can gather 3 people. It's a fair deal. Zhang Yi really likes this. When I was with Zhao Keita, I still needed to take care of her girlish heart occasionally, coaxing her with sweet words. Look at this one. Yang Mi is sober in the world. It is very convenient for everyone to get what they need. However, there was one thing she probably thought too naively. Wait until the snowstorm is over and leave. Zhang Yi smiled and shook his head. It doesn't matter whether this long snowstorm will end or not. Even if the ice age is over, do you think the world will still be the same? It doesn't matter. Even if one day Yang Mi really wants to leave, Zhang Yi will at most miss the time when the two of them got along happily. There are plenty of obedient and sensible younger sisters outside, and he won't be obsessed with anyone's departure. Under the apocalypse, he only wants to be drunk today while having wine. Now that he has figured out Yang Mi's thoughts, Zhang Yi no longer wastes time cultivating feelings. He stood up and walked towards the bathroom. Reaching out to pull the door knob, it was locked inside. Zhang Yi calmly took out his magnetic card, which is the highest authority of the shelter, and can open any door. The bathroom door was opened. Yang Mi is taking a bath in the shower room inside. Through the hazy frosted glass, Zhang Yi could see her bumpy S-shaped figure, especially the choppy pair. It's just over the top. Yang Mi noticed that Zhang Yi had come in. She kept her chest and below her and screamed, "Ah, you, how did you come in? I'm still taking a shower." Zhang Yi smiled and said, I know, but you can't reach your back alone, right? Come, let me wipe your back for you." "No, I can do it myself." Yang Mi clenched her lips. Although she was mentally prepared, she still felt a little nervous. What's more, she understands what men like. High-end hunters always appear in the form of prey. If Zhang Yi hadn't heard her talking to herself through the surveillance, she might really feel a little embarrassed at this time. But after understanding Yang Mi's thoughts, he has no taboos. It's okay, don't be too polite to me. I'm a person who loves to do good things to help others. As Zhang Yi spoke, he opened the door and walked in. Then the sound of water merged with a soft cry, and then turned into a deep gasp. Yang Mi wanted to refuse, but also to welcome. She pretended to resist weakly, although she knew she was acting, but Zhang Yi's motivation was obviously more sufficient. After a long time, the sound of water in the bathroom slowly stopped. Chapter 166. Afterwards, Yang Mi's eyes were full of tears, and she looked at Zhang Yi sadly, like a little daughter-in-law who had been bullied. "I thought you were a good person who came here with you. How could you do this to me?" Zhang Yi stretched out his finger. "There is surveillance here." Yang Mi was taken aback for a moment. She raised her head to look in the direction Zhang Yi was pointing at, and sure enough, she noticed a tiny reflective spot. For a moment, the sorrow on her face turned into embarrassment. Didn't it mean that, after performing for 2.5 hours, Zhang Yi was actually watching her joke? Why didn't you say it earlier?" Yang Mi's shy face turned into a monkey's ass. Zhang Yi said with a smirk, because when you performed hard, you gave me a very good experience. Yang Mi was so angry that her chest rose and fell violently. At the same time, I was so embarrassed that I wanted to find a place to get in. Zhang Yi took out a few clothes from the different space and put them on the shelf next to him. There are new clothes here, take them and change into them. Seeing Zhang Yi's ability to pick up objects from a distance, Yang Mi's eyes widened immediately. What kind of ability is this? A little trick, Zhang Yi said with a smile. He turned around to leave, but was stopped by Zhao Jia's soft voice. You don't want to go? Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows and asked with a smile. Why, haven't you had fun yet? Yang Mi gritted her silver teeth and said angrily, I can't dress myself. You, come here and help me. Zhang Yi's performance just now scared her to death. For 2.5 hours, she had no time to rest. Is this man an animal? It is said that there are only exhausted cows and no plowed fields. But a mad buffalo can ruin a field too. Later, she couldn't even stand up, so she could only rely on Zhang Yi to support her. Zhang Yi was only paying attention to expressing respect to the goddess in his heart just now, and forgot to consider her feelings. Hearing this, she realized that it was difficult for her to stand upright. He hurried over to help Yang Mi put on her clothes gently and considerately. Not long after, the two sat on the sofa in the living room. At this time, after Yang Mi washed up, she regained her elegant appearance. With a bun on her head, she looks like a married lady. She wore a black off-the-shoulder dress, highlighting her round shoulders and deep ravines. The full breasts are ready to come out, making people worry that they will jump out all the time. 2 Balenciaga black stockings on the legs, covering the delicate calves and the small and exquisite feet. Zhang Yi lay on the sofa and began to set up rules for her. My family is quite big, and it's not too much to support you with one more woman. I only ask you for one thing, and that is the word obedient. You are so smart, you shouldn't understand what I mean. Yang Mi bit her lip, still feeling ashamed about what happened just now. Understood. In our entertainment industry, this kind of thing is called unspoken rules. Zhang Yi nodded in satisfaction. Very good. I gave Yang Mi a dive. He didn't have many demands on Yang Mi either. To raise her is to keep her at home as a vase. Later, Zhao Ke also came over, and the two women shared some housework together, and they could take turns to be on duty every day, without much pressure. But Zhang Yi, a black-hearted boss, sometimes asks them to work together. Thinking of this, Zhang Yi frowned suddenly. He whispered, I remember that among the medicines I bought with Zhao Heron, there were Liu Wei De Huan and Jinjian. I hope I don't need to use them. And Yang Mi, who was sitting not far from him, restrained the little woman's shyness, proudly puffed out her chest, and began to negotiate terms with Zhang Yi. I can agree to your request, but there are a few principles that I also hope you can abide by. Zhang Yi smiled and spread his hands indifferently. Let's hear it. Yang Mi sternly said in a childish voice. First, the relationship between me and you was only during the snow disaster. If one day we are separated, I hope you will not reveal what happened here. After all, I'm a public figure. If people know what I have done with you here, I will have to retire in the future. Zhang Yi pouted slightly. Like Zhang Dada and KZIN, she has fantasies about society returning to the past after the snow disaster. Again, the more people enjoy social dividends, the less willing they are to see the collapse of traditional society. However, he still replied straightforwardly, yes, I will not easily reveal what I have done with you. Seeing that Zhang Yi agreed to this, Yang Mi breathed a sigh of relief. After all, she is a popular national lover. If anyone can get close to her once, he will be so excited that he will show it off everywhere. Second, I will try my best to meet your request, but I hope you will restrain yourself. After all, my body is a little weak, and I may not be able to keep up with your rhythm. When she said this, she bit her lip and her voice became smaller and smaller. Until now, she still feels that her legs are weak, and she has to rely on Zhang Yi to support her when she walks. Let's not make requests that are too perverted. Unless, I agree. Yang Mi is very ashamed of things like exchanging her body. Even though she was pretending to be the leading heroine, Zhang Yi had wiped out her sovereignty. Now that she had lost her sovereignty, it seemed that saying such words did not have much deterrent effect. She can only hope for Zhang Yi's love and affection for her, so as to retain her respect. Zhang Yi looked at Zhang Mi, who was humiliated with shyness, and shyness with enjoyment, and felt an inexplicable pleasure. Boss KO, I understand. Blame me for being young and ignorant, and treating young girls as treasures. He moved his body in front of Yang Mi. A flash of fear flashed in Yang Mi's eyes. God, what is he doing? Isn't this just now? Won't you want it again? Yang Mi instinctively raised her slender white arms, trying to keep a little distance from Zhang Yi. The whole person was hugged into Zhang Yi's arms. She blushed even more. She turned her head away, not daring to look into Zhang Yi's eyes. With an evil smile on his face, Zhang Yi pinched her delicate chin with his fingers, forcing her to turn her face away. He said next to Yang Mi's ear, "It's obvious that you came to find me on your own initiative, so don't always show a wronged look. Even if you act on the spot and take what you need, as a popular little flower, I hope you can always keep your acting skills online. At least it will make me happier, and it's good for you, isn't it?" Zhang Yi's warm breath blew into her ears. The sensitive area suddenly turned red, and her body also went limp. "Then, you have to agree to my conditions first." Zhang Yi smiled disapprovingly. "Don't worry, I don't have too many perverted hobbies." While speaking, he gently scooped up Yang Mi's little feet. The soft little feet seem to have no bones, which makes people love it. Zhang Yi's smile gradually changed, and he moved his nose closer. "First of all, let me verify whether the online transmission is true." Chapter 167. Zhao. Zhang Yi and Yang Mi made an agreement for 3 chapters, and she lived in as she wished. But Zhang Yi could feel that she was still a little ashamed and angry. After all, as a top-notch and popular little flower, she was a little bit unwilling to be manipulated to death by a man. But instead of feeling unhappy, Zhang Yi felt even more happy. Especially when two people are communicating, her feeling of being forced, and her way of covering her mouth, and trying to suppress her voice, but her body is honestly following the swing, make people more eager to conquer. This woman is so damn sweet. Because of Yang Mi, Zhang Yi did not return to Yulu community. There was hardly any rest throughout the day. Like a little boy who just got a new toy, and is in high spirits. The time of the day has passed so fulfillingly. Zhang Yi left a room for Yang Mi. Like how he treated Zhao Ke before, he didn't give her the key. "I'm going out for a while, you stay in the room first." Zhang Yi left some food for Yang Mi. As for the problem of going to the toilet, it is easy to solve. All the rooms here have private bathrooms. When the shelter was first built, it was really thoughtful. When Yang Mi heard that Zhang Yi was going out, a nervous expression appeared on her face. "Then when are you coming back?" After the end of the world, she was lonely and afraid for a long time. Although she is now occupied by this bad man, as a woman, she is very at ease in her heart. To be honest, if Zhang Yi is polite to her and doesn't take advantage of her, she will be afraid that Zhang Yi has other plans. Now that Zhang Yi was about to leave, she felt fear again. She didn't want to be left alone. "Don't worry, I'm just out to pick someone up. Be back soon." Seeing Boss Yang showing the posture of a little woman, Zhang Yi couldn't help but smile. The hard shell on the surface gradually became unable to maintain it. What an interesting woman. Yang Mi pursed her lips, with a cold look on her face again. She sat on the sofa seat. "Okay then, go and come back quickly." Zhang Yi turned around and was about to leave when a thought suddenly popped into his mind. He turned around and asked Yang Mi, "There are many rich people and celebrities living in this place, right?" Yang Mi blinked her eyes. "Yes, this is the largest wealthy area in Xianhai City. The lowest net worth around here is more than 1 billion yuan. Zhang Yi nodded. A smirk suddenly appeared on the corner of his mouth. "So, is there any lady with big breasts, no brains, and no heart?" Yang Mi's eyes widened all of a sudden, and she stood up excitedly. "Are you alright? Are you alright? If you make fun of me like this again, I will be angry." She glared at Zhang Yi angrily and clenched her small fists. Zhang Yi blinked and suddenly realized that she had substituted herself. Well, she does meet the obvious factor of big breasts, but not brainless. Zhang Yi explained with a smile. "You misunderstood. I'm not talking about you, but someone else." Yang Mi looked astonished, covered her mouth in surprise, and took 2 steps back. You pervert." How many women do you need to satisfy you? However, his ability is so strong, it is indeed beyond my ability to deal with it alone. Oops, what am I thinking about? He's a bad guy. Big silver goblin. Yang Mi was ashamed and angry. Zhang Yi was speechless. He admits that he is a little bit lewd, but he is not enough to look for women everywhere. He needs a few whetstones to sharpen his sword. But if there are too many whetstones, it will grind the sword into scrap iron, which is not good. If it wasn't because he had the filter of Yang Mi when he was young, he would definitely not let her enter this shelter easily. To be honest, even the 3 cunts he drove out were not much worse than her in terms of appearance. And his technology in that area must be much better than hers. That's what happened. I have a friend in my hometown who treats me very well. But he was cheated by a bad woman, and now he needs the comfort of the opposite sex physically and mentally. I want to find a partner for him, so I'm asking you. After all, you still have a lot of connections in the circle of ladies. After listening to Zhang Yi's explanation, Yang Mi realized that she had made a new Lang. But now she sees that Zhang Yi also has a filter and thinks that Zhang Yi is a pervert with dissatisfaction. But she was under the eaves. Zhang Yi asked her to help her, and she couldn't refuse. What's more, since Zhang Yi has the ability to survive in the apocalypse, his friend will certainly not be much worse. Being able to introduce her friends to each other is also equivalent to saving a life. Yang Mi then said, there are relatively few people dying in the rich area, and there are some noble ladies. But if you say you don't have a heart, it's hard to meet this condition. She frowned slightly, paused before asking cautiously, your friend who is a little older, won't you mind? Okay. A little older? This is good. Zhang Yi hopes to introduce Uncle Yu to someone who is mature and stable, and who knows how to advance and retreat in his heart. Unlike that Zilimi, who has been jumping around frantically on the verge of death. My friend is in his 40s, and he personally prefers mature women. I'm sorry, Uncle Yu. I can't introduce you even the little girl you like. Because young women are really troublesome. Yang Mi breathed a sigh of relief. If this is the request, then it will be easy. She looked at Zhang Yi and asked with a smile, you should know Zhao Heimei, right? When Zhang Yi heard this name, he couldn't help but constrict his pupils slightly. Zhao Heimei, that was his childhood goddess. Not to mention Zhang Yi, even Zhang Yi's father liked her very much when he was still alive. At that time, Zhao Heimei was known as the national lover, and she also won many film and television drama awards. Now in her 40s, she has begun to transform into a mother-type role, but often because of her high appearance, she is often evaluated by the audience as the limelight overshadows the heroine. Or, Mom, love me again, some type of. To be honest, even at the age of 40 plus, Zhao Heimei still looks glamorous and has a plump figure. Even Zhang Yi had to praise it when he saw it. The charm is still there. Uncle Yu, I've done you a favor this time. I found the best one for you. Zhang Yi immediately asked Yang Mi to contact Zhao Heimei. Not long after, Zhao Heimei appeared at Zhang Yi's home. Due to the snow disaster, the originally exquisite beauty lost some weight, and her face was also deeply tired. But in the depths of his eyes, it was hard to hide the excitement of having a chance to survive. Yang Mi said next to Zhang Yi, I have already spoken well to her, and she has no objections. Of course, in the face of life and death, most people cannot maintain the so-called reserved and arrogant. Chapter 168. Zhang Yi gave Zhao Heimei something to eat. After seeing the food, her eyes lit up, and after thanking Zhang Yi with the last bit of reserve, she sat on the sofa and ate voraciously. Zhang Yi waited until she had finished eating, and then said to her, are you clear about everything? Zhao Heimei nodded. I know. You found me a home, right? Women in their 40s can already look at things fairly. Maybe people of their age don't pay much attention to the so-called love, marriage, life. Pay attention to a well-matched family. As long as the conditions are met, we can be together. So when Yang Mi told her that she could find a long-term meal ticket for her, she agreed without hesitation. The only regret is, she originally thought that man was Zhang Yi. With Yang Mi's foreshadowing, Zhang Yi saved a lot of things. Before leaving, he solemnly reminded the two people that the safe house and shelter must be kept secret. It is absolutely not allowed to tell outsiders in any way. Otherwise, it is very likely to cause greedy people to come and snatch it. If you let me know who has leaked the information here, then there is no need for her to live." When Zhang Yi said this, his tone was flat and indifferent, but there was pure murderous intent in his eyes. Both women were terrified and quickly said that they would not do stupid things. Zhang Yi nodded and said nothing more. These two women are not young, and those who work hard in the entertainment circle are not stupid and sweet, and they will not do that kind of stupid things. He ordered it, just in case. After explaining, he asked Yang Mi to go back to the room, and then took Zhao Heimei to go back to Yulu community. The cold wind is bleak, and the cold north wind blows the surface of the Lujiang River with ice and snow. Compared with when the snow disaster just came, the falling snow has become much smaller now. After all, under the extremely cold low temperature, there are not so many water molecules in the air that can condense into ice. It's just that the low temperature still continues, and the cold wind is as piercing as usual. Adjacent to Yonk Manor across the river is a small town called Zujia Town. Across the river is the villa area where the richest people live in Qianhe City, and on the other side is a rural suburb of the city. In the past, people in Zujia Town made a living by growing food and vegetables. Every household built greenhouses to grow food and vegetables and then sold them to downtown Qianhe City. For many years, although they are not as wealthy as people in the urban area, they have lived a pretty good life. After the extreme cold storm came, their lives were much more comfortable than those in the city. Although they also need to face the cold and low temperature, they will not be short of food. And in terms of physical fitness, he was even better than the city dwellers. When a snowstorm came, they lived comfortably, which was a little ironic. At noon, it is also the time when the temperature is the highest every day. The temperature outside rose to -degrees, and the wind and snow were a little lighter. Above the Lujiang River, a group of villagers from Zudong village who wrapped themselves tightly appeared. They came to the ice with various tools in their hands. In addition, 5 or 6 dogs were brought in, all of which were sled dogs like Alaska and Husky. However, under the low temperature, the dogs were wrapped in cotton coats. People in Zudong village cherish these dogs very much and treat them even more carefully than they treat themselves. Because now in the south, only they can still be used as animal power. It's just that at this time, these sled dogs are different from the silly look they usually see. Their eyes were full of ferocity, their mouths showed fangs, and their fur was stained with blood. Led by a black-faced man in his 50s, a group of people came to the ice. The black-faced man walked back and forth on the ice a few times, and sometimes lay down to look deep into the ice. After a while, he tapped somewhere with the stick in his hand. "Here, dig." As soon as he finished speaking, more than a dozen people followed immediately came up, and several large ice-breaking equipment were placed on the sledge behind. Everyone lifted the equipment down, put it in the designated place, and tied it to the dog with a rope. "Run, run." The dog breeder held the dog firmly with the rope, shouted twice, and the dogs began to run forward. At the same time, it drives the icebreaker to cut through the ice. With the animal power of the dog, the efficiency of breaking the ice was very fast, and it didn't take long for a huge round hole to be dug in the ice. Alright, we got a fish." The black-faced man in the lead stretched out his hand to say hello, and the dog owner hurriedly grabbed the dog. Everyone worked together to lift the icebreaker out, and a dozen fish could be seen in the broken ice below. They all remained stuck in the ice layer when they were frozen to death. After freezing, the oxygen concentration in the river becomes low, and fish schools float up in order to obtain oxygen. Although they did not find a breathing hole in the end, they also died near the ice. This provides good food for this generation of fishermen in Zujia Town. As long as the ice is broken, the frozen fish can be excavated from the ice. This has also become their main source of protein. A group of people were busy as usual, led by Zhu Dahei from Zudong village, Zujia Town. In the past, he was just a fisherman with an average status in the village. But after the end of the world came, he relied on his fishing skills to become the most important person in Zudong village. For example, when he goes out to fish now, he is only in charge of the designated place, and other people are responsible for the physical work. Zhu Manjin, a villager with a dog, came over and chatted with Zhu Dahei. Second uncle, you said it's so cold today. Did everyone in the city freeze to death? Zhu Dahei folded his hands and sneered disdainfully. These city people don't even know how to grow crops on weekdays, and they rely on us farmers to support them. Nowadays, I'm afraid it's difficult to even have a full meal. In my opinion, I'm almost dead. Zhu Manjin nodded and said happily, fortunately, we are rural people. No matter how bad the weather is, we have food in our house and strength in our hands, so we are not afraid of not being able to survive. It's the weather, and it's too cold. When will it be over? Zhu Manjin looked at the luxurious villa area across the river with a trace of smug contempt in his eyes, but at the same time he was also somewhat confused about the future. It is true that they can survive, but such a life is obviously not what they want. Zhu Dahei frowned slightly, his eyes narrowed slightly in the wind and snow. It's hard to say, but in this weather, we can live. As long as we are willing to work, we are not afraid of starving to death. When I was in Mo, the temperature was not much higher than here. We were still swimming shirtless at that time. A few people chatted about nothing. In the past, they always liked to get together to discuss major international affairs. They must talk about Europe and the United States in their words, and belittle other countries to nothing in their actions. But now that there are no news sources, and no mood to care about foreign affairs, they can only talk about how miserable the people in the city are. Suddenly, there was a sound of an engine in the distance. It came from the other side of the river. Although the sound wasn't too loud, it was particularly obvious in this ice and snow world, where everything was completely silent. Zhu Manjin was taken aback. Why do I seem to hear the sound of a motorcycle? Zhu Dahei pricked up his ears to listen carefully, and then his face was full of astonishment. Can't go wrong. The sound was very similar to the fishing boat he drove when he was fishing. When is this? Why are there still cars? Don't the people in the city freeze to death? A group of people put down their work and looked in the direction of the sound of the engine. Chapter 169 How dare you rob me? Zhang Yi rode a snowmobile and took Zhao Heimei all the way to Yulu community. He drove along the riverside, and the Lujiang River under the ice and snow also had a magnificent feeling. However, compared with the ground, there is significantly less snow on the ice surface. Lujiang is connected to the East China Sea, and the specific heat capacity of water is large, so the temperature changes relatively slowly. You can even see people catching fish on the ice. Looking at these scenery, Zhang Yi felt a rare trace of human presence. But at this moment, there was a shock in his mind. Fishermen? Have they actually adapted to this extreme cold temperature? Zhang Yi felt a little unbelievable in his heart. He lived in Yulu community for a month, but he saw with his own eyes how miserable those people were. In Zujia town, opposite Lujiang River, those villagers have already adapted to the low temperature. But it's not surprising to think about it. Farmers cultivate the land all year round, and no matter how cold the weather is, they have to get up early to work in the field. Their ability to adapt to the environment far exceeds that of city dwellers who are spoiled by air conditioning and heating. Humans' ability to adapt is truly terrifying. If it were me, I wouldn't know how to survive without air conditioning and heating in my room in winter. Zhang Yi expressed such emotion. But it didn't take long for him to sigh with emotion. Suddenly, there was a terrifying bark on the ice not far in front of him. Zhao Heimei in front of her screamed, pointed at Jiang Shang and said, "There is a dog." Zhang Yi has already seen it. 7 or 8 vicious dogs rush towards them while roaring crazily. And behind them are pulling 2 simple sleds with 4 people standing on them. Zhang Yi's eyes became darker. He knew that he was in trouble again. Not the immediate trouble, but the future trouble. Originally in his plan, the people in the city would perish quickly in the snowstorm. And he, and those few people hiding in the shelter, can survive to the end. But I didn't expect that the countryside outside the city had already begun to adapt to life under the severe cold. These people become potential threats. For example, keep an eye on his snowmobile. Sit tight. Zhang Yi slammed the accelerator and accelerated the speed. He didn't want to conflict with these people. After all, if one person is offended, a village may be implicated later. Zhang Yi galloped on it, and on the river, 8 dogs were chasing wildly with their tongues flicking. After seeing Zhang Yi, their eyes were red, and the wildness in their eyes made people shudder. Dogs were originally domesticated from wolves, and they have experienced many life and death battles in the last days, and even ate human flesh when they were hungry. Dogs that have eaten human flesh have blood red eyes, which is extremely cruel. Zhang Yi's snowmobile is fast, but the sled on the ice is not slow either. Because the villagers of Zudong village came to intercept them in advance, Zhang Yi couldn't escape. On the sled, a fisherman picked up the harpoon in his hand and threw it at Zhang Yi and the others. Fuck. Zhang Yi cursed. If the harpoon hit his arm, at least half a catty of meat would be brought down. He hastily reversed the direction of the motorcycle, and a sudden brake stopped the car in place. Zhao Heimei didn't sit still, and was thrown out, and landed in the snow. This famous actress was so frightened that she burst into tears, and she didn't even have the courage to get up while sitting in the snow. At this time, 2 sleds had blocked Zhang Yi's way. The 8 sled dogs roared frantically at Zhang Yi, and the sound was particularly penetrating, especially when they bared their teeth and there was blood at the corners of their mouths. It made people feel that these were not 8 dogs, but 8 extremely hungry jackals. Zhang Yi's scalp tingled for a while. He is not afraid of people, but he is a little worried when he sees these mad dogs. Because people are afraid, but dogs are not. The 4 men on the sled came over with a thing in their hands and a dog on a leash. Leave the car and the woman, get out. Holding a hatchet in his hand, a man shouted at Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi looked at them coldly, taking into account the location of each person and each dog. Then he quickly pulled out his pistol and pointed it at those people. Brothers, borrow away. I don't want to cause trouble, so don't come here to seek death. The black muzzle is obviously more deterrent than words. When those people saw the gun, they all stepped back in unison. Zhang Yi pointed to the side with his gun. Can you let me? The 4 villagers of Zudong village looked at each other. The hostility deep in their eyes remained undiminished. In the end times, their hands are all stained with human life, so they won't be scared so easily. But they didn't want to die in vain. A young man asked angrily, "Dude, where did you get your car and gun?" Zhang Yi sneered, "Heirloom." Several people were holding the dog in their hands and making eye contact, as if they were discussing whether to retreat or not. But after his eyes fell on the snowmobile and Zhao Heimei's face, the strong greed appeared again. Snowmobiles are now the top means of transportation, much better than dogs. As for women, they need them too. As the so-called satiety and lust, they solved the problem of food. Then another primitive desire began to occupy the brain. It's true that there are women in the village, but how can that kind of village girl compare to a well-maintained star like Zhao Heimei? The man with a ruffian face was Zhu Xingwang. He put his hands in his hands and said to Zhang Yi, "Brother, this is our territory in Zudong village. You can think about it. We have to charge a toll." He pointed to the snowmobile and Zhao Heimei. "The car and the woman, you have to keep one." Zhang Yi didn't expect this group of people to be so wild. Could it be that the gun in his hand was just a display? He frowned and asked with a sneer, "Can't you see that I have a gun in my hand?" The 4 of them looked at each other. Although they were apprehensive, they did not flinch. Who can live up to now and dare to bring a dog out? Which one is a good stubble? In order to compete for food, they fought countless times with the neighboring village, and they were very courageous. Another thin man wearing a felt hat pointed at Zhang Yi and cursed, "Who the hell are you frightening? 4 of us, 8 dogs, how many bullets are in your gun? Leave the woman and the car behind, and you'll be able to survive. Otherwise, give it a try." Zhang Yi's eyes became colder and colder. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw people on the river rushing towards him. The river here is less than 100 meters wide, and the opposite bank is Zujia town. If their people rushed over, they would soon surround Zhang Yi. At that time, Zhang Yi can protect himself, but the crazy dogs might tear Zhao Heimei to pieces. He took a quick breath. "This is what you forced me to do. There is no need to talk about the matter now." A pistol slipped from Zhang Yi's left hand. He shot suddenly, aiming his 2 guns at the heads of the 4 people and firing 4 shots in a row. These 4 people didn't even manage to struggle, and blood splashed from their heads and fell to the ground in an instant. But without anyone to lead them, the 8 dogs roared and rushed towards Zhang Yi and Zhao Heimei. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170, Enmity with Zoo Family Town. The gunshots did not scare off the mad dogs, but made them more excited, and rushed towards Zhang Yi and Zhao Heimei with their teeth bared. Zhao Heimei screamed in fright, and was about to be bitten by a mad dog. Zhang Yi gritted his teeth, and beat her 2 dogs to death first. Without time, the remaining 6 dogs had already rushed to Zhang Yi. It was too late to shoot. The gate of the dimension. Zhang Yi shouted loudly, and opened the door of a different space in front of him. Shoot, shoot, shoot. The dog barking quickly disappeared in place. Zhang Yi took a deep breath. If I'm accidentally bitten by these dogs to the unprotected arm, I'm afraid that I will lose a large piece of meat, and there is a high probability of contracting the virus. However, this is the first time he has applied the ability of different dimensions to actual combat when facing a dangerous situation. It is indeed easy to use, and it can be called a skill against the sky. The group of dogs only need to stay in his different space for a while, and they will die due to the cessation of body functions and lack of oxygen. Large dogs also weigh 40 to 50 kgs, which can be used as a good test product to observe their death time. In this way, we can judge the difference between the flow rate of time in the different space and the current world. Zhang Yi calmed down his emotions and saw someone approaching quickly on the ice in the distance. Zhang Yi knew that he couldn't stay here for a long time, otherwise, if there were too many people coming, there might be big troubles. He quickly helped Zhao Heimei, who was paralyzed from fright, put her on the snowmobile, and drove her away. When he left, he conveniently brought the 2 dogs that were killed into the space. After Zhang Yi left, Zhao Dahei came late with his people. When a group of people from Zudong village saw the 4 corpses, their eyes were full of grief. They knew something was wrong when they heard the gunshots. Zhu Dahei said in a sad tone, "I've said it a long time ago, you can't rush to take action when you encounter someone whose origin you don't know. This is a good time, let yourself be involved." The 4 on the ground are all the younger generation of Zudong village, not so stable. Although Zhu Dahei tried to dissuade them, the 4 felt that they could not miss the opportunity, so they came here on a dog sled. As a result, all of them died here. Zhu Manjin next to him looked around, but found something was wrong. Where are the dogs? Where are the dogs? All the dogs in the village are domesticated by them. Dogs are evolved from wolves, and they have a very strong sense of group living. After identifying the master, he will not betray easily, so the chances of them all escaping are almost 0. Several other people looked around, but did not find a shadow of a dog. It's not right. This is too strange. That guy is very problematic. He has a snowmobile and carries a gun. He must be not an ordinary person. Zhu Dahei's face was gloomy. This time he was the one who led the team out, and now the man died, and 8 of the precious dogs were lost. After returning, it was difficult for him to explain to the people in the village. No matter what, killing our people in Zudong village, this matter can't be done like this. Things are a bit weird. That person may have extraordinary abilities like Chun-Li. Let's go back and ask the village chief for advice. The big guy nodded and then took the corpses back to Zudong village. The easternmost village of Zujia town is Zudong village. If you look from a distance, you will be surprised to find that there are bulging spherical igloos on the vast snow. Hundreds of igloos of different sizes gather together, but in the middle is a white castle made of pure white snow bricks. That's right, it's the kind of castle commonly seen in Neon Kingdom anime. The whole Zudong village is built on the snow, with Snow White Castle as the center, forming a beautiful ice and snow kingdom. The inside of the castle is equally gorgeous, with tables, chairs, benches and even chandeliers on the walls made of snow. At this time, in the castle master's room, strange voices came from time to time. Ailey, bad and ignorant children will be punished. Yeah. There, you can't. The laptop on the bed was emitting a yellow light, and under the quilt, a chubby young man was staring at the screen seriously, and a roll of toilet paper was ready beside him. Just when he was getting better, the door, that is, a wooden board, was pushed open. Several big men came in. The leader was a dignified old man with a long beard. As soon as he entered the door, the old man shouted, "Chun-Li, something happened." Zhu Chunlui, who was busy in the bed, was taken aback. The original process was instantly planned to cast a spell, and he became soft all of a sudden. Zhu Chunlui panicked and quickly closed the lid of the computer. But the voice inside still came from the bed, and it couldn't be concealed at all. The few big men who entered the door were covered with black lines on their foreheads. They never imagined that they rushed to discuss important matters with Zhu Chunlui, but they saw such a scene. The elders of Zudong village were neither advancing nor retreating, and they were instantly embarrassed. Zhu Chunlui was sweating profusely, wanting to smash the computer. As soon as he operated, he turned on the computer, entered the password to unlock it, and then turned off the video. After doing this, he himself knew that he couldn't hide anything, so he simply covered his head under the quilt and refused to go out. "Why don't you knock on the door when you come in?" Zhu Chunlui roared in bed. The old man who took the lead, Zhu Dongsheng, the head of Zudong village, had black lines all over his face. He roared angrily, "You are such a grown-up, and you still do that to cartoons. You don't feel ashamed?" Zhu Dongsheng came over and tugged at Zhu Chunlui's quilt, but Zhu Chunlui was so humiliated that he refused to let go. "This is my own hobby. What's wrong with the man being a bit perverted? Little bastard, you still have the face to say it. I've already told you to introduce someone to you. There are so many beautiful girls in our village, don't you choose them all?" What's the point of the three-dimensional old woman? I don't care about it. The two argued for a long time, and finally Zhu Chunlui's quilt was torn off by Zhu Dongsheng. The group of people behind wanted to laugh, but they couldn't laugh because of the purpose of coming here. The forcedly suppressed expression was also difficult for them. Zhu Chunlui asked the elders of Zudong village to sit down with a look of dissatisfaction. "Third grandpa, what are you doing here?" Zhu Dongsheng glanced at Zhu Dahei next to him and said, "Dahei, tell him about it." Zhu Dahei nodded and said, "We went fishing today, but Zhu Kang, Zhu Guangxi, Zhu Yabin, and Zhu Xingwang were killed." Hearing that someone was dead, Zhu Chunlui's expression couldn't help becoming serious. "He died again. How could he die again? Haven't the surrounding villages been taught to be honest?" Zhu Dahei said in a deep voice. "This time it's not people from our Zujia town, but people from the other side of the river." He carefully described what happened today to Zhu Chunlui. Zhu Chunlui also listened cautiously. Village head Zhu Dongsheng said, "That man is too powerful. 4 people and 8 dogs were dealt with by him in 3 or 2 strokes. I'm very worried that this person will threaten the safety of our village in the future." "Chunlui, could it be that he, like you, possesses extraordinary power?" Zhu Chunlui nodded solemnly. "It's very possible. Although I am chosen by heaven and the only one. But God has given me great power, so it is destined to arrange enemies in my destiny to make me stronger." He propped his hands under his chin, with a deep expression on his face. "Perhaps this is the first test for me to walk out of Novice Village." Zhu Dongsheng and the other seniors were speechless after hearing Zhu Chunlui's words. Fortunately, they are used to his expression. Zhu Dongsheng said, "The entire Zudong village surnamed Zhu are of the same clan. If a member of the clan is bullied, we have to fight back. Whoever kills someone from our Zhu family will have to pay in blood no matter what. Chunlui, this person is too powerful. We are not easy to deal with. So it depends on you." The other elders also smiled and gave him a thumbs up. "Yes, you are the chosen one. The Zhu family depends on you to protect now. You must not disappoint us." Being praised so much by the big guy, Zhu Chunlui's jaw almost went up to the sky. He covered his right eye with one hand and laughed in a low voice. "Ha ha ha ha. Don't worry, leave this matter to me. I also want to see how strong my full strength can be." On the other side, Zhang Yi drove the frightened Zhao Heimei all the way to Yulu community. He was not in a good mood. Zujia town is just across from Yangmana, separated by a river. Now Lujiang is completely frozen, that is to say, the straight line distance between the opponent and him is less than 1 kilometer. He killed 4 people in Zujia town, and those people are likely to come to take revenge. It's not that I'm afraid, but I left Yulu community to avoid trouble, and now I'm getting into new trouble instead. Please, I just want to find a place to spend a leisurely life with some beauties. Why do you have to force me to fight and kill?" Zhang Yi thought for a while and realized that his abilities were not suitable for taking the initiative to attack. but in terms of defense, he is invincible. Whether it is his space skills or his super shelter, ordinary people or forces cannot break through. By the way, Zhang Yi gave his different space ability to very interesting names. Opening the door of a different space is called the door of the dimension. Absorbing the attack and then changing the vector to fight back is called full counterattack. Although it is the simplest ability in principle, it sounds really tricky to call it that way. Come out to hang out, who can't have a famous name, that's the way to scare people. A Mirzou family town, unless there is a particularly powerful ability user, it will not pose any threat to him at all. If they are more sensible about this matter, and don't come to trouble me, then forget it. But if they want to die by themselves, I will kill them all. Zhang Yi made such a plan in his heart. Soon, they returned to Yulu community. Zhang Yi suppressed the matter in his heart, and heard the car to the door of 25 number. The neighborhood is much quieter now. After all, a large circle of buildings around 25 number was cleaned up by Zhang Yi. Now the area around 25 number is an absolute forbidden zone. No one is allowed to approach. We are here. Get out of the car, Zhang Yi said to Zhao Heimei. Zhao Heimei was in shock all the way. Her heart was still beating. Hearing Zhang Yi say this, her heart retracted into her stomach. The person I want to show you is upstairs. Come with me. Looking at the young and handsome Zhang Yi, Zhao Heimei couldn't help but sigh in her heart. No matter how beautiful a woman was when she was young, she could not compare to a young girl when she got older. Otherwise, she would prefer to stay with Zhang Yi. Especially after Zhang Yi just killed someone and saved her life. It left a deep impression on her heart. Okay. Zhao Heimei squeezed out a smile, sighed in her heart, and chose to accept her fate. Finding someone to live with is like this. How can there be so many people who are satisfied and they can make do with it? Zhang Yi took Zhao Heimei upstairs. On the 24th floor, Zhao Heimei was out of breath and took 2 breaks on the way before going up. Before Zhang Yi entered the door, he habitually used his mobile phone to check the surveillance in the house. Zhao Kenna was reading a book in the living room, while Uncle Yu was still lying on the hospital bed. Nothing else was unusual. Only then did Zhang Yi open the door with confidence and walked in with Zhao Heimei. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Zhao Kenna immediately raised his head and looked over. After seeing Zhang Yi, she was surprised and was about to jump over and get into Zhang Yi's arms. But when she saw that there was still a charming woman next to him, her expression changed suddenly, showing a look of vigilance. Zhang Yi, you are back. Congratulations on your success. Zhao Kenna walked up to Zhang Yi and skillfully reached out to help Zhang Yi take off his thick winter clothes. While taking off her clothes, she looked at Zhao Heimei. Zhao Kenna recognized who she was at first glance. When Zhao Heimei was young, her looks were at the same level as Zhao Kenna's. To be honest, if it wasn't because she was a little older, she would have caught up with Zhang Yi's mother. But if she was 10 years younger, Zhang Yi would keep it for herself and let her do some hard work at home. Zhao Kenna didn't know Zhang Yi's thoughts. She murmured in her heart, could it be that Zhang Yi still likes this type? This is a huge crisis for her. After all, there is one more woman in the family, and her status is definitely not as good as before. A woman can still lie down, but if 2 women are together, they will be rolled up. These days, a group of people compete for a good job, and the same goes for a good man. Chapter 171 Uncle Yu, do you want a wife? After Zhao Kenna helped Zhang Yi take off his clothes, he hugged his arm tightly and asked gently, are you thirsty? Would you like some hot drinks? Or are you hungry? You eat. Zhao Kenna's waves were turbulent, and Zhang Yi's arm was deliberately caught in the middle, almost completely sinking in. Zhang Yi was a little stunned. Although she was very well behaved before, it was the first time that she took the initiative. Then he realized that Zhao Kenna regarded Zhao Heimei as a competitor. Sure enough, there is competition to make progress. Zhang Yi laughed secretly in his heart. In the future, when she and Yang Mi compete for favor, he will be the one who gets the cheapest. This is called 2 clams fighting each other, and the fisherman wins. Zhang Yi said to Zhao Heimei, you sit here for a while. Although Zhao Heimei was amused by Zhao Kenna's hostility, she didn't say anything, just nodded lightly, and then sat down on the sofa. Zhang Yi pulled Zhao Kenna into her room. As soon as she entered the room, Zhao Kai stared at Zhang Yi and said with a savored expression, I just realized, now that you like such a mature woman. Don't think about it, I found her to take care of Uncle Yu. Zhang Yi explained with a smile. You're not wrong to say I like grown-ups, though. Listening to this sentence, Zhao Kai always felt that there was something in it. Okay. Changing the subject, Zhang Yi asked, how is Uncle Yu's current physical condition? Zhao Kai said, his body has almost recovered, which is unbelievable. According to the normal recovery speed, it will take at least 3 months. And, according to what you said, I quietly injected him with a muscle relaxant. But I found that even that kind of drug can't restrain his strength. Zhang Yi nodded. Now it is basically certain that Uncle Yu's mutation is of the physical enhancement type. Then is his mental state still normal? Zhang Yi has seen on the internet that some mutants have negative mutations. For example, the green monster abroad, although it has gained great power, its spirit is very strange. Zhao Kai shook his head. No, Uncle Yu looks quite normal, no different from usual. Zhang Yi nodded reassuringly. That's good. He told Zhao Kai to go to the living room and chat with Zhao Heimei. After all, this will be Uncle Yu's woman in the future, and she needs to have a good relationship. Zhao Kai learned that Zhao Heimei was not a competitor, and her hostility towards her disappeared. She may not have chatted with the opposite sex for a long time, and immediately went to chat with her happily. And Zhang Yi came to the ward. When he opened the door, he saw Uncle Yu sitting on the bed with a mobile phone in his hand and a strange smile of GGG. Hearing the sound of the door opening, he quickly stuffed the phone under the pillow. Zhang Yi, you're back. Why didn't you knock on the door? Uncle Yu's face was as red as guano eyes. Zhang Yi frowned and immediately understood what he was doing. Uncle Yu, were you reading Spring and Autumn just now? Uncle Yu coughed, just looking around casually. It's alright. By the way, you've been walking all day. What are you doing outside? About the shelter, Zhang Yi only told Zhao Kai alone and did not let Uncle Yu know. But now that it's done, it doesn't matter if you let Uncle Yu know. He sat on the chair in front of the hospital bed and briefly told Uncle Yu about it. After listening to Zhang Yi's statement, Uncle Yu couldn't help being speechless. These rich people are really reckless. In the past, I thought they were stupid and rich to engage in such useless things. Who would have thought that, since the end of the world, people would really have the last laugh? Instead, we have become fools. Zhang Yi said, there are so many rich people at home and abroad, and there are many people who have built shelters. According to the ratio, it is true that people with power and money are more likely to survive. Uncle Yu laughed nonchalantly. Fortunately, I have made such a good friend like you. So I have survived until now. I'm very lucky. Looking at the upright Uncle Yu, Zhang Yi showed a knowing smile on his face. If he had any friends in the last days, it was definitely only Uncle Yu. By the way, what changes have happened to your body recently? When Uncle Yu heard the words, he didn't hide anything and told Zhang Yi frankly, I feel that my body is indeed different. With such a serious gunshot wound, my wound has almost recovered in just a few days. He lifted his top to reveal a dark stomach with a strong six-pack. Brand new body, fit like a fitness trainer. Although the bandage was still wrapped, the blood was no longer visible. Also, the strength has also increased a lot. After Uncle Yu finished speaking, he reached out and grabbed the edge of the iron bed. As soon as he exerted force, he heard a creaking sound, and the steel bar made of wrought iron was twisted and deformed. When he grabbed it, a gleam flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. With such strength, people would believe that he could kill a tiger in close combat. I feel like a monster right now. Uncle Yu didn't know what was wrong with him. He was surprised and flustered at the same time. Zhang Yi smiled slightly. Uncle Yu, you don't need to worry. You just awakened a powerful force. Zhang Yi explained the mutation of creatures to Uncle Yu and shared some of the information he obtained through the global network with him. After some explanations from him, Uncle Yu suddenly realized and understood all this. In order to trust each other, Zhang Yi also told him that he was a mutant, and he performed a telekinesis on the battlefield. Uncle Yu was dumbfounded, and he patted the bed after a long time. Fuck, no wonder I always feel that you have a lot of stuff on you. So that's what happened. This force directly bent the bed frame under the buttocks. Zhang Yi watched with a smile, but was very happy in his heart. Uncle Yu can block bullets for him, so there is no doubt that he is trustworthy. And the stronger Uncle Yu is, the more he will help Zhang Yi in the future. At this time, the sophistication of the world is also reflected. Zhang Yi said to Uncle Yu, "Uncle Yu, do you want a wife?" Zhang Yi's sudden words stunned Uncle Yu for a moment. "Okay. As long as you open your mouth, I'll bring you my wife. Guaranteed to have good looks, good figure, and your favorite mature lady." Zhang Yi lowered his voice and gave Uncle Yu a look of "you understand." Uncle Yu's eyes were round, and he couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva. After Zhang died, although he didn't say anything, he was still very sad in his heart. After all, an old bachelor in his 40s has no money to marry a wife, and it is not easy to find a woman to warm his bed. At this time, I heard that Zhang Yi specially helped him find a wife. Uncle Yu was so happy. He nodded hastily. "Yes, of course. Where is he? Let me see." Chapter 172. When Uncle Yu heard that Zhang Yi had brought his wife, he got off the bed excitedly. Zhang Yi looked outside the door. "It's just outside." Uncle Yu felt a little embarrassed when he heard this. "Zhang Yi, have you told her about our family's situation?" Zhang Yi was speechless in his heart. As expected of an old bachelor of more than 40 years, I feel embarrassed at this time. If you are not a bachelor, who is a bachelor? It's okay, she understands the situation. She is willing to live with you. Zhang Yi gave him a white look. Uncle Yu was hesitant, and it was Zhang Yi who pulled him, and then followed him out the door. When the two came to the living room, Zhao Kenna was chatting vigorously with Zhao Heimei. Hearing the movement, Zhao Heimei turned her head and looked over. She and Uncle Yu happened to meet eyes. Uncle Yu saw Zhao Heimei's appearance clearly, and was a little puzzled for a while, but he immediately thought of who she was, and opened his mouth in surprise. Are you Zhao Heimei?" Zhao Heimei sighed softly when she saw the honest man with dark skin in front of her. From an aesthetic point of view, the man in front of her is not a good one. But right now she had no choice. Zhao Heimei stood up generously, walked over and said with a smile, "Hello. Are you Mr. Yu?" Uncle Yu nodded quickly, like a ruthless piling machine. "Zhang Yi, the two of you know each other today. We will live together in the future, take care of each other, and help each other solve various troubles. I'm in a hurry, so I won't say much if I'm polite. This house will be your wedding room, and you will live here steadily. Zhao Kenna and I will move out temporarily so as not to disturb your two-person world." Zhang Yi didn't want to play those blind date tricks, so as to save wasting time. And from Uncle Yu's excited eyes, Zhang Yi could see that he really wanted to communicate with Zhao Heimei alone. Uncle Yu was a little embarrassed when he heard that Zhang Yi was going to leave the house to him. How should I put it? This house is your painstaking effort. But Zhang Yi said, "I found a new place to live. Isn't it a waste to leave this place empty? If you live here, you're helping me look after a house." I don't worry. Most of his memories in Yulu community are bloody. Although most of the people killed deserve to die, there were also accidental injuries. It is necessary for his mental health to leave here and live in another environment. Zhang Yi approached Uncle Yu and said with a smirk, "Besides, we are still living together. Isn't it inconvenient for some things?" Uncle Yu licked his dry lips and nodded again and again, indicating that Zhang Yi was right. And Zhao Heimei nodded happily. The house is very comfortable to live in, with a fireplace and perfect insulation. If two people lived here, it would be much better than her mansion in Yonk Manor. Zhang Yi said to Zhao Kenna, "Go and pack your things. I will take you to your new home later." Zhao Kenna nodded happily, then went back to her room to pack her things. Zhang Yi called Uncle Yu aside and explained other things to him. "Before I leave, I have to tell you something. First of all, the supernatural power. You have to exercise and discover it yourself. It has huge potential and room for improvement. The stronger the ability to protect yourself. The second is the issue of personal safety. You must not have any soft-heartedness towards the neighbors in this community. In the past month, you have also seen complicated human nature. So don't trust them easily, let alone sympathize with them." Having said that, Zhang Yi pointed in Zhao Heimei's direction. "Especially don't be soft-hearted and let a woman influence your thinking. A strong man will never lack a woman. You have to know who is the head of the family." Uncle Yu nodded repeatedly, but whether he took it to heart or not, it was up to Zhang Yi himself. Soon, Zhao Ke finished packing her things. They are all personal items. She didn't have many personal things, but the various stockings and underwear that Zhang Yi gave her filled a suitcase. Zhang Yi stuffed things into the different space. Before he left, he filled the kitchen again, and the food was at least enough for Uncle Yu and his wife to last for 2 months. As for the subsequent dietary problems, Uncle Yu had to solve it by himself. He is still a capable person now, so he can't always rely on Zhang Yi to take care of him. After leaving the house, Zhang Yi took a last look at his house. The safe house cost 800 million Chinese dollars to build, and it helped Zhang Yi survive time and time again. Now it seems that it has become narrow and simple point, but the memory of this month is destined to be unforgettable. Zhang Yi stretched out his hand to stroke the heavy metal door and smiled in relief. Uncle Yu and Zhao Heimei sent them downstairs. Before leaving, Zhang Yi glanced at the snowmobile. He smiled and said to Uncle Yu, "In the future, I will go out to find food by myself. I can't do without a vehicle. This car will take you off. You can come to my place to play when you have time in the future. If Zhang Yi encounters trouble in the future and needs Uncle Yu's help, he can rush over here as soon as possible." Uncle Yu was moved to tears by Zhang Yi's generosity and waved his hands repeatedly to refuse. "No, this is absolutely not possible. Zhang Yi, you have already given me too much. I can't ask for any more." But Zhang Yi said seriously, "You have to think about the future." "But, you gave me this, what do you do?" Uncle Yu looked worried. Zhang Yi shrugged, "I can do whatever I want." When he walked to the door, a white light flashed in his right eye, and suddenly a four-wheeled snowmobile appeared on the snow. It's a snowmobile, not a snowmobile. The silver-gray streamlined body looks no less than a supercar. There are red sleds on both sides of the front, and 3 wheels and tracks on the bottom, to form a wheel set. The interior space of the car is very large, and the front and rear rows can be seated very spaciously. If you put aside the structure below, the above is almost a super sports car. Its appearance, and compared with the snowmobile next to it, the gap is not too obvious. It is completely the gap between Ferrari and Suzuki motorcycles. Uncle Yu, Zhao Heimei and Zhao Ke were all a little dumbfounded. "Boy, do you call this casual?" Zhang Yi sighed and said to Uncle Yu, "I reluctantly parted with you and gave you my beloved motorcycle. I can only forcefully drive this one. I really don't like this thing. It consumes too much gas. But there is no way. Who made us good friends? Uncle Yu." "Ah, yes. He pursed his lips, and there were 10,000 muddy horses galloping in his heart. "Is this the advantage of space system ability users? I really envy him." Chapter 173. Zhang Yi pulled Zhao Ke into the car, then waved goodbye to Uncle Yu and Zhao Heimei. "In the past, I was reluctant to drive this thing, and there was indeed a fuel saving factor in it. Such a large snowmobile consumes amazing fuel. Running on snow is completely different from running on flat ground. In addition, before going out alone every day, riding a motorcycle is more convenient. But in the future, he will almost never go out, if he can't go out, so there is no need to be so stingy." After Zhang Yi and Zhao Ke left, Uncle Yu glanced at Zhao Heimei next to him. His eyes were full of eager light. "I feel a little embarrassed to see Zhao Heimei. Let's go back and rest. It's cold outside." Uncle Yu rubbed his hands together and laughed. Zhao Heimei nodded. Now that she married a chicken, and followed the chicken, and married a dog, she lived with Uncle Yu at ease. But after only one day, she no longer had any dissatisfaction in her heart. What Uncle Yu awakened was the ability to strengthen his body, and he seemed to have endless energy. As the saying goes, a woman is like a wolf at 30 and a tiger at 40. Even a woman in her 40s like Zhao Heimei was subdued by him. From then on, she lived with him wholeheartedly. You can't just look at people on the surface. You have to go deep, and then make a judgment after a deeper understanding. Later, Zhao Heimei always liked to pass on this experience to other women. Zhang Yi drove Zhao Ke back in the RV. Along the way, Zhao Ke excitedly looked at everything outside. She has been locked in the community for too long, and the farthest place she has been to is the 4th floor. Being able to come out now made her feel much happier. She looked left and right, wishing she could have a panoramic view of all the scenery. but soon there was a look of disappointment in her eyes. Because in the vast world, only ice and snow are the only eternal ones. The traces left by human civilization are only some reinforced concrete, and there are no bustling neighborhoods. Zhang Yi, is our new home beautiful? Zhao Ken can only place her expectations on the new residents. Zhang Yi smiled slightly. It's big and beautiful. I don't know how many times more comfortable than the house we lived in before. Zhao Ken's eyes lit up. No wonder you are so generous. I said that according to your personality, it is impossible to give away the safe house that has taken so much thought to others. But Zhang Yi corrected, it's not a gift, it's just a loan for them to live in temporarily. If we need it someday, we will still come back. He still has the highest authority and the key of the safe house in his hand. He could take the safe house back any time he wanted. It's not that he doesn't trust Uncle Yu, it's just that in the last days, it's okay to have the intention to harm others, but it's necessary to have the intention to guard against others. People are subject to change, he has to prevent problems before they happen. By the way, there is one more person in the family now, let me tell you in advance, so that you can be mentally prepared. Zhang Yi said in a flat tone. In Zhao Ken's eyes, a suspicious light flashed. One more person? Ah. I see. She smiled coquettishly. Is the original owner of that house still there? That's not true. He asked me to kill him. Thinking of this, Zhang Yi suddenly parked the car on the side of the road. Shit, if he hadn't mentioned it temporarily, he would have forgotten to throw those corpses out. Zhao Ken didn't know what Zhang Yi was going to do. Seeing Zhang Yi get out of the car, she also tightened her clothes and followed. I saw Zhang Yi take out a lot of corpses from the different space and then threw them into the ditch below along the ramp by the side of the road. Among these corpses, some were Kun who died in the shelter, and 3 were Wang Ximing, Lin Zheng and Zhu Heiyou. Zhao Ken recognized the 3 people at a glance, and her eyes widened in surprise. Is the house you mentioned Wang Ximing's villa? Yeah. What's the problem? Zhang Yi clapped his hands habitually, looked back at her and asked. Zhao Ken sighed, shook his head and said, it's nothing. I just feel that such a prominent figure like him died so easily. It's just unbelievable. Zhang Yi sneered disapprovingly. It's the end of the world. Human life is worthless. Everyone is so cold when they die. Don't hurt the spring and the autumn, as long as you can live. Don't care about other people. Zhang Yi left the body on the side of the road, and it would not be long before they would be covered by heavy snow. He returned to the car, and Zhao Ken also got into the car. Then the person you left behind, shouldn't it be the woman next to him? Zhao Ken stared at Zhang Yi, and a vinegar smell began to permeate the car. Zhang Yi saw her pouted little mouth through the rearview mirror, and thought it was very cute. When I first met her, she was still that cold female doctor. But now that the two have a close relationship, she has developed a deep sense of dependence on Zhang Yi, and she has become a jealous little girl. Women are truly amazing creatures. Don't think too much, it's just that the room is quite big. I'm afraid you won't be able to work all day by yourself. Just find someone to help you share the pressure. Zhao Ken puffed her cheeks. Her smooth black hair hung down her collarbone, like an unhappy little girl. There was a feeling of pampering in Zhang Yi's heart. He smiled and said, don't be unhappy. She is just a tool person. The only person I love most in my heart is you. My affection for you is as high as a mountain. How can she compare? Zhao Ken's pouting mouth slowly lowered. She looked at Zhang Yi and asked, is what you said true? Zhang Yi nodded resolutely. Of course it is true. Don't even think about it. You are young and beautiful, and you became the attending doctor of a tertiary hospital at a young age. Is it possible that I don't like such a nice girl? Zhang Yi's eloquence is excellent, and the sweet words to coax the little girl come as soon as he opens his mouth. Perhaps after being deceived by Fang Yuqing, he lost the sense of looking up to beautiful women in his heart. Without the burden of morality, he is naturally calm. So, when you go after a girl, you must not be humble, but be confident enough. Only then will you be able to attract them. Those who cannot get are always in turmoil, and those who are favored have nothing to fear. Zhao Ken pursed her lips. She was very happy with Zhang Yi's words. What kind of female doctor of medicine is a blank slate in terms of feelings? In the last days, the attachment generated by the suspension bridge effect made her completely fall in love with the dangerous and powerful man beside her. She put her arm around him and rested her head lightly on his shoulder. I knew you liked me. Happiness is written all over her sweet little face. Zhang Yi glanced at her, feeling slightly touched in his heart. In this way, she looked very much like the innocent self she used to be. Zhang Yi couldn't help asking himself, is it right to live so selfishly? But soon he was relieved. If being a selfish person can lead to a happier life, why not do it? At the very least, he has never rode Zhao Ke or anything, so he shouldn't be considered a scumbag. Chapter 174 Ice and Snow Ability. Zhang Yi drove a snowmobile and took Zhao Ke to Yang Manor. On the way, you must pass the road by the Lujiang River. He looked at Jiang Man with some vigilance in his heart. They killed 4 villagers and 8 precious sled dogs by themselves, so they definitely wouldn't let it go so easily. But looking all the way, Zhang Yi didn't find any trace of anyone on the river. It's best if they don't come looking for something. Zhang Yi thought so in his heart. On the way back, the snow gradually became heavier. Recently, the falling snow has not been as violent as it was at the beginning. After all, the water molecules in the air are limited. Most of the time it's light snow, or dry with biting cold winds. The snow was getting bigger and bigger. Zhang Yi turned on the wiper to clean the snow off the windshield. The road ahead is somewhat unclear. This made Zhang Yi frown slightly, feeling a little weird. This snow, why does it feel worse than when the snow disaster first started? The wind and snow were getting bigger and bigger, and the howling wind outside could be heard across the cabin. The windshield wipers couldn't clean the falling snow, and the snowflakes rushed towards the snowmobile, as if they were attracted by something. Zhang Yi finally noticed something was wrong. No, this snow is not normal. A large layer of snow suddenly appeared in front of it, and it hit the car body directly. Only a bang was heard, and there was a loud noise from the car. Zhao Ke let out a "ah" in fright, and then tightly grasped Zhang Yi's arm. Zhang Yi, why is it snowing so hard? Zhang Yi's eyes became serious. I'm afraid it's not just heavy snow. There was a vast expanse of white in front of the car. The road was completely unclear, and it became difficult for the car to move forward. There are only 2 possibilities for this situation. Either the snow disaster suddenly escalated, or someone was making trouble end times. Ability. The emergence of these 2 things has made everything that was impossible in the past possible. Zhang Yi's right eye flashed a white light, and the door of the different space opened in front of the snowmobile. The surging blizzard roared into the different space, silently, as if it had never appeared before. Zhang Yi cleared a path and accelerated to drive forward. Soon, realizing that the speed of the snowmobile had not slowed down, the wind and snow suddenly turned. Zhao Ke looked forward, suddenly pointed there in horror and said, "Dragon, tornado." Right in front of the snowmobile, a snow tornado slowly formed, then quickly condensed to a height of tens of meters, and crashed towards the snowmobile. Zhao Ke's face turned pale with fright. In the face of this kind of natural power, human power is really too small. Even this snowmobile looks like a pocket toy. Zhang Yi didn't say anything. At this moment, he had already determined that this was not a natural phenomenon, but that someone else was attacking him. Moreover, there is a high probability that it is from Zujia town, and a small probability that it is from Yang Manor. Calm down. Keep calm. Once you panic at this time, it will be over. Zhang Yi experienced hostile aliens for the first time, and he had no experience in supernatural combat in the past. The information obtained from the internet told him that almost everyone's mutation is different. You never know what other people's power is, much less how much their power will be. Therefore, if you want to defeat your opponent, the most important thing is to master a kind of intelligence or ability of your opponent. Zhang Yi told himself in his heart, my ability is absolute defense. As long as I don't panic, the other party can't kill me. So I don't need to worry about my own life safety. And the opponent's ability obviously has the ability to manipulate ice and snow. His attack on me was so precise that the man must be nearby. First of all, I have to judge how many attack methods he has. Zhang Yi made a judgment instantly. Facing the huge snow tornado that was overwhelming, Zhang Yi immediately opened the door to the dimension in front of the snowmobile. The distance from the gate of the dimension is within 3 meters around Zhang Yi's body, just enough to cover the front and rear directions of the entire snowmobile. Call. The tornado came to him in an instant. Zhang Yi closed his eyes in horror and let out a scream. But after a short while, the huge snow tornado disappeared in place. The ground returned to calm, only the snowflakes were still dancing and slowly falling to the ground. Behind the snowdrift not far away, Zhu Chunli was stunned. Why did the blow that was bound to be one suddenly disappear? Incomprehensible. He didn't know what kind of ability this was, which could offset his powerful snow tornado attack. After using this trick, his face became much paler. Obviously, this method of controlling a large amount of ice and snow is not a small consumption for him. Seeing this, the two Zhu family members with earthen guns in their hands asked in a low voice, "Chun-Li, are you okay?" Zhu Chunli gritted his teeth and said, "I'm fine. It's just that this guy is really difficult to deal with. He must also be a capable person, and I don't know his ability." Withdraw. Zhu Chunli gave the order to retreat without hesitation. People are always full of fear of the unknown. Zhu Chunli is the most powerful pillar of Zhudankan today, and his orders are absolute. Hearing this, the two people next to him immediately wanted to take him away. Inside the snowmobile, Zhang Yi had already put on the tactical goggles. The assault rifle was taken out from the different space, and the bullet was loaded with a click. The opponent's attack has stopped. It seems that this attack is also very costly to the opponent. Let me take a good look at where they are. Zhang Yi is a firm believer in science. Even for a creature to gain power due to genetic mutation, it must conform to the principles of physics. The amount of energy consumed by a snow tornado attack of that level is huge for the human body. It's like a fighting game that, after releasing its ultimate move, it will be in the empty window period of the air tank. In this regard, his different space is relatively buggy. Because the different space does not have the ability to actively attack, it only has two functions of charging and releasing. Both require no energy consumption. However, by changing the vector method, the opponent's attack can be rebounded. Zhang Yi wants to take advantage of this moment to launch a counterattack against the hidden enemy. After putting on the tactical eyepiece, the night vision capability is turned on, and all objects that react with heat energy will be displayed. Soon, Zhang Yi saw three human-shaped red objects appearing hundreds of meters away. They are on the other side of the Lujiang River. Zhang Yi quickly opened the car door and got out of the car, then pointed his gun at the three people and shot. Crack, clap, clap. The bullet pierced through the space, brushed past Zhu Chunli and the others, and one person's thigh was instantly penetrated. He's got an assault rifle in his hand. The man yelled in pain. Zhu Chunli's pupils shrank sharply, and he turned his head to look at the other side. With a distance of several hundred meters, the two of them only saw a small dot in each other's eyes. "It's too far away," Zhang Yi said lightly, and then quickly put away the assault rifle. Even with the assisted aiming of precise shooting, the performance of the firearm and the influence of the wind direction still could not allow him to hit the target accurately. So, he took out his beloved sniper and aimed it at the middle one among the three on the opposite bank. On that person, the infrared reaction was particularly obvious. Chapter 175. Zhang Yi pulled the bolt and pulled the trigger. While he was changing guns, Zhu Chunli on the other side seemed to have sensed the danger in advance. He waved his right hand fiercely in front of him, and a large piece of ice and snow spiraled into the air, forming a large piece of snow fog around the three of them, blocking Zhang Yi's sight. The thermal response in the tactical eyepiece disappeared. Zhang Yi's gun paused for a moment. Although he also fired the bullet, his intuition told him that he missed it. But he didn't stop, but opened the gate of the dimension. The snow tornado that Zhu Chunli used on him was returned by Zhang Yi. When Zhu Chunli saw this scene, his eyes were full of astonishment. How could he use my skills? Could he be copy ninja Kakashi? The snow tornado arrived first, smashing the snow and fog all over the sky. Zhu Chunli didn't care about his physical weakness at this time, and quickly controlled more ice and snow to resist this force. Holding the gun in his hand, Zhang Yi carefully searched for the location of Zhu Chunli and the others. As long as there is a gap, he will instantly snipe and kill the opponent here. Oh. The ice and snow all over the sky collided together, making a very dull cracking sound. What followed was snow and mist flying all over the sky, like smoke and dust splashing all over the sky, permeating the sky over Lujiang River. All vision is blocked, and there is no chance of shooting. Zhang Yi frowned. Through this short fight, he already understood that the opponent is not skilled in the application of abilities. And when he shot for the second time, his strength had already weakened a lot. If I drive to chase after him at this time, there is a high probability that I can kill the opponent. However, out of consistent caution, Zhang Yi did not choose to do so. First, the opposite side of the river is Zhujiazhen, and the person with the ability to manipulate ice and snow must be from Zhujiazhen. In the past, I was almost bound to fall into the other party's crowd. Second, this is their home field, and there may be traps that Zhang Yi doesn't know about. There is no need to risk yourself. Third, there is Zalkela in the car. After thinking clearly about the pros and cons, Zhang Yi put away his big sniper. He took a few steps back cautiously, and then got on the snowmobile. If you have the ability, you can chase me and seek revenge. But next time, it will be at my home court. Zhang Yi didn't want to fight, but drove the snowmobile quickly away from here, and drove towards Yong Manor. On the other side of the Lujiang River, Zhu Chunlu's face was like gold paper, and his eyes were full of fear. Since his awakening of supernatural powers, he has helped Zhu Dongcan establish its dominance in Zhujia town. Several surrounding villages were tidied up by him alone. It was the first time that his ability was completely destroyed by someone, and he almost stayed here with his life. The plot shouldn't be like this. Am I not the protagonist? Zhu Chunlu really wanted to cry. The buddy next to him, whose thigh was pierced by a stray bullet, stretched out his hand towards him. Chunlu, don't be emotional. You, send me back quickly. I'm about to die. Zhu Chunlu showed a bitter face. You can't do it? I can't do it either. The battle just now had consumed him enormously. That extraordinary ability is not something that can be used casually. The remaining buddy, who was not injured, looked up to the sky and sighed. Stop talking, you two. Don't you just want me to take you back alone? Helplessly, he supported one of them and led them to Zhujia village step by step with difficulty. Zhang Yi took Zalkela and left here without encountering any other obstacles on the way. This battle has been very rewarding for him. After all, it was the first time he had fought against a foreigner, which gave him a little more insight into the use of his abilities. After going back, you must exercise your abilities well. The world in the future may become the world of supernatural beings. Zhang Yi firmly believed in this idea. Zalkela at the side looked at his serious expression, thought of the battle just now, and patted his plump chest with lingering fear. I was really scared to death just now, but luckily you are here. By the way, how was the result of the battle? Did you kill that person? Faced with Zalkela's curious question, Zhang Yi shook his head. The distance is too far, and it's night, so it's hard for me to continue chasing. But that guy must have been taken aback, and he didn't dare to come and trouble me easily. Zhang Yi's most effective means of attack at present is the gun. If dealing with aliens, the sniper rifle is the best choice. And in terms of his ability, the most suitable way to fight is to defend and counterattack, or to snipe and kill. Zalkela was a little worried. Will he come to seek revenge in the future? Judging from his ability, he should be a stranger who can manipulate ice and snow from a long distance. At that time, maybe a snowstorm will come and bury the place where we live. Zhang Yi smiled lightly. You don't have to worry about this. Our new shelter is definitely safe enough. Even if it is buried by snow, it will not affect your life. And with my ability, I'm not afraid of his attack. Zhang Yi's ability can be said to bounce back all physical attacks, and it is a magical skill that can be called absolute defense. With Zhang Yi's explanation, Zalkela smiled reassuringly. The two came to Yong Manor together, and Zhang Yi took her back to Villa 101. Looking at the huge black villa standing in the snow in front of him, Zalkela's eyes also showed anticipation. This is much more spectacular than the previous safe house. Zhang Yi opened the door and led Zalkela into the passage. Turn on the lights. He gave the command, and the lights in the living room came on immediately. The gorgeous living room is illuminated by bright lights, making it even more luxurious. The 9-story crystal chandelier above the head is a high-end product imported from abroad, and the cost exceeds 10 million. Expensive things naturally have the benefits of being expensive. At night, it shone with golden brilliance, beautiful, and it was a gorgeous work of art. Even Zhao, a lady with a good family background, was attracted by the beautiful scenery in front of her at this time, and her eyes were shining with joy and curiosity. Is this our new home? It's so beautiful. Zhang Yi turned on the phone and checked Yang Mi in the surveillance. She was lying on the bed right now, wearing only a set of black sexy lace underwear, and she was in a daze, not knowing what she was thinking. Since she was completely unaware that someone was peeping, she was in a big posture, spread out on the bed in a large font. That lazy feeling, matched with her sexy figure, is full of seductive taste. Zhang Yi smiled slightly and said to Zhao, "Wait for me here." The two women in the family always want to meet each other. Zhang Yi intends to introduce her. Zhao nodded, then sat down on the sofa, looking at everything in the room curiously. Zhang Yi went to the basement floor, Yang Mi's room. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.